back in the building. Yeah, anybody that's helped us out today, and especially all of our viewers. We want to thank you guys for watching. That's Neil. I'm Sean. We'll check you back at 2 p.m. over to the Midday Show.
Joey, it's like 87, 88% humidity outside again, man. It's decent. It's decent. It's 15. It's not raining yet, Katina, man. I don't even think it started raining. But, boom, greetings and salutations. Beautiful people, welcome to the Midday Show. The reason I'm getting excited is I see Benton, see my man, and he's saying COYG. Do you know why I'm getting excited, Joey?
Why?
City dropped points. They dropped 2 points by tying 3-3 yesterday with Everton away, and they just barely tied. They scored in the last second.
Oh, yeah?
Who gives Jeremy Doku that kind of room? I just don't understand, man. He scored a screamer in the first. He scored a screamer to end the game. Cover the man. They could have dropped 3 points. It would have been better for me. I would have been even louder. Let's go, Kirk D. Shout out to Hangry. Stop talking about soccer. Tell us your trades. All right. We're going.
Who said that?
It's Hangry Wife. He's just trolling. What's up, Dynamite Driver? Shout out to Trust Fund Baby. Kirk D. We got Crazy Dirt Weed. Ja. LP. Slow Motion. We got Damien. We got Richard. Shout out to Bailey Buttons and T-Dot. Kirk D again. Let's go. Boosted Red Spot. Come on, throw in the names, guys. I want to see new names only. What is this? Gamer Craft something or another. Buffalo Soldier. Mike PD Writer. We got Texas Hex and Friends. Motion Man Mojo. Dubs Dollars 2462 and Sean Hall. Shout out to Sean Hall. Data Robertson. We got Taylor Batty. Okay. Ooh. Walt Country Club. I aspire to have a country club membership very soon, hopefully. Britt Brennan, Scott H, Art Mog, Ozan, if you don't have move button, better we break up. Katina Man, can we get the move for your friend Ozan? The Katina Man's coming in hot with it. We do appreciate that. Shout out to the Katina Man. And there you go, Ozan. Dean Allen. Joey.
Yes, sir.
Algo Assassin.
Oh.
I like that name.
Okay.
Good morning, brother.
Algo Assassin. All right, guys. Thank you, Hangry Wife. As always, typically with the kind words. Guys. What's going on, everyone? Having a fantastic Tuesday, man. I don't know why I'm shouting out that last little bit of the word.
It's because City tied yesterday, that's why, right?
It's City tied today. And the Toronto Maple Leafs acquired a burger joint manager. Yes.
People were really crapping on that guy.
Did I not tell you about it?
You did tell me that, but that guy from the Sun, the Toronto Sun, comes in hot with that kind of question. I hear scam artist, I hear salesman, I hear that.
They went off
to his face telling him that.
Yeah, but that's what he did because anyway, we're not going to get too much into it because I can go all day, Sharif, about this. So we'll hit the stone cold on this one. Fires in the bag. Austin, fries in the bag. Oh, okay. Yeah, make sure. All right, guys. So we took a couple tries here on the long on IBIT. One break even, one loss. Didn't get going. The crypto space a little bit choppy here today. And then also with Coinbase, we tried a couple attempts on that bad boy. Didn't work out for us, but nonetheless, we're going to be looking for some more opportunities here. We might have to put crypto to the side and find something else that's strong, or it might be an all-day fader. See, the thing is, though, we haven't had we have 1 second there. We haven't broken that 45.94 level, and we keep running into the back end of this trend line. So if we have that breaching, then maybe we can take one more stab. We're going to stick to our 3-strike rule, and we're 0 for 2 on it. Adara.
Doing very well, Joey.
President Trump is speaking live right now with some children and some athletes and a good portion of his cabinet talking about the conflict in Iran, amongst other things. Right now, mostly he's talking about sports. If there is anything market related, I will let you know. But I have to talk about a couple companies here that have been name dropped by Anthropic for their new financial services partnership here. So they're calling it Agents for Financial Services and Insurance. One of the companies name dropped here is VRSK, which did move higher. Another is MCO, Moody's, which is actually continuing to move higher here again. Anthropic releasing 10 agent templates for financial services and partnering with a host of companies, MCO and VRSK among them. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Joey. I know you're
make sure the kids are well informed. That's for sure.
You just said, we're doing very well in the round.
I saying, like, that's crazy. Like, look at these kids.
I just like to copy his voice. I'm not trolling him.
Yeah, I'm trolling
funny.
him because it's like, dude, you're talking to a bunch of like kindergartners right now. Anyways.
Is he telling them that?
Bro,
why is he telling the kindergartners that?
That's
oh
crazy.
My days.
Hey, you gotta do your thing. But nonetheless, guys, this is what we have on our radar. Typically, the SPY and the Nasdaq in the corner of our eye in the peripheral. Tesla not doing too much. A nice couple strong upticks, but you bounce right off of that 402 level on multiple occasions. Boom. I heard Katina Man say he's long Tesla, so let's rock and roll on that one. It's a party. Anyways, aside from that, IBIT also there, guys, starting to head back in towards this trend line that I was referring to not too long ago. IBIT on the 1 minute, and then pins. We were switching this up from Coin, but Coin had a nice little bounce off of the lows. They're laying off about 14% of their workforce. I thought we'd see a little bit stronger of price action, and then we can also break through this daily pivot that I was looking at. Doesn't seem to be the case, right? So still weak. That 214 mark is what I was looking for us to push through. Not necessarily the case here today.
Okay, so let's just get right down to business. I'm looking at Poet, which is trading near day's highs, 952. The high of the day is 64. Here it is in the 56. Somebody was just asking me about it. I'm keeping a close eye on it. Native New York just started Mandarin on Duo. Any tips? Yes. Use ChatGPT as well. In conjunction with Duolingo, you'll find it a lot better because Duo has this problem where they have this explain my answer thing now on Duo, but it's not nearly as good. Chat, you can actually speak into if you're using the voice prompt. It's a lot more nuanced. It gives you details. It's like, hey, the technical way to say this is, but everyday parlance is this. So use ChatGPT. Take screenshots, just post it into chat. Very, very useful. Them in conjunction with one another. Shout out to Native New York. All right, let's get back to work here with Poet. We're going to bring in the trusty side charts. And you're already going to see Just Blaze. Oh, baby. It's losing the bid, Joey. It just broke VWAP. Flat bottom break ensuing right now on Just Blaze. It's not called Just Blaze, but I'm going to call it that. 750 lost there. Multiple holds at the 750 area, which overlap for VWAP. All the way down now to I want to say the low of this candle is 717. The low of the day is 712. So we barely hold on. So Just Blaze might lose its spot on the side chart, much like S dot. Coming from very, very, very higher over the, I want to say, Friday session, sold off a little bit yesterday, not nearly as aggressively as it did on Friday. I don't know what the hell this pattern you call, like maybe an inverse head and shoulders if we can break through that 63, 65 penny level. I don't know. I'm going to keep a close eye here on VWAP, but all I see, Katina, man, is just lower highs. What's going on over there?
I said to my wife, I said, I'm almost out of position. She says,
No way. Get it, Marissa.
That's crazy.
Yes, Marissa. Katina Man was just like, he's like, I'm almost done my positions, right? Because he's about to get up. And she's like, all right, Katina Man, that's what I want to see. Get it, Marissa. All right, S dot. About to break VWAP over here, but there goes SLQT above that 1.25 area. This one still has a high of 130. SLQT, Joey, up about 55% with a $1.30 high, as I mentioned. Current bar high into 127. I do like the look of SLQT's jib because it has been quite respectful of trend. A lot of greenery on this chart. Moreover, most of the candles do find support at the 10 EMA on the 5, and that's kind of what I look for. So that's that one. How about BRCC? Good one, decent one, not as good as the other one, but up 44%. A lot of respect for the 10 EMA as well. You can see most of the pullbacks, the deeper ones anyway, do find support on that green line, the 10 EMA on the 5. So that'll be on my purview. EVER, Joey, this one's up about 48%. Looking awfully bull flaggish, and quite frankly, this is the second bull flag. We got the breakout, looks like, right into the close yesterday. The volume started coming in hot and heavy at about 10 minutes to close, and then it really accelerated in the aftermarket right at 4 o'clock. So bull flag number 1 from yesterday's aftermarket. Bull flag number 2. We're not really getting the break through $22 because it's a $21.96 high, but EVER looking pretty good. As I mentioned already at the top, Poet, I'm keeping a close eye on that. I was about to get in above this $0.50 with a view of stopping out below the 11 o'clock bar low, which would have been 917. I was going to put 14s, but I don't mind this coming back down, perhaps to a third. Let's see what Poet has to offer us here. Just going on here before we send it back to your boy Joey Opsh. BLDP also having itself a good day to the tune of 20 1/3%. Dilly-dallying here below $4, but as you can see, a couple of candles holding up at the 10 EMA. I was a bit more biased with this one that we would have a VWAP retracement just given sort of the parabolic nature, Fabian, of the move up. But that 385 level where VWAP is may not come in, especially now because the current bar high is just breached prior bar high. So we could be on our way to 4. That's the bullish myopic view. Let's go with the bearishness. Well, we have basically an unbroken lower high trend after putting in that 405 high on BLDP. So I'm keeping a close eye on that. And then last but not least, DARE, much lower on volume. This one's a backup, probably loses its spot on the side chart if it doesn't pick up on some volume here, Joey. But Poet looks like it's holding up here decently well into about 9.5, 9 2/3. I've got a bit of a bias that this one moves into 10.
All right. I'm with you on that one, my brother. We have, who is it, DeVille, Patrick Delvale, saying that Bitcoin going to fly. Yeah, I don't
mind that at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it at all. I don't know if it's going to here. We can't hit the Randy thing. Randy, it's Fabian behind the.
Love that.
Well, yeah, Fabian behind. Can we get the little Randy in the middle here just for a little bit? I need some comment.
You miss him?
Yeah, I miss him.
Get it, Randy.
All right, guys. Yeah, so, I mean, what we have going on here today is that Bitcoin, I mean, is it going to fly? I don't know, but you can see, you clearly can see, but in my notes right here, I said that we gapped up, and just considering I'm not looking at Bitcoin as it has somewhat of this chip strength like we're seeing in the Intels, the Marvells, where you could just buy every dip, and then it's just day after day continuation. Even though we are starting to get an uptick right now, the third attempt at the break of the volume-weighted average price, we want to see the volume really start to follow through as well. But there it goes. I mean, I wasn't going to hold my previous position because I was essentially there because I was martingaling? Is that even a term? Anyways, I was just continuously like, when one position starts small, you add a little bit more, and unfortunately, one of them didn't get going for me. Otherwise, we would have eliminated the majority of our losses. But I'm prepared to get back in. Patrick DeVale, there you go. You're starting to be a little bit right here, my friend, as we're running into that high of the day of 46.34. And then you can see a slight base being formed here in Tesla as Katina Man is long off of the lows. 392.18, I'm going to guess he's in around that neck of the woods. Oh, 39? All right, that was pretty close. But nonetheless, there it is. Coinbase starting to get a curl over too, and the market heading towards the high of the day. So a lot going on here. There's that breakout. What a dog. IBIT was an accumulation, and then sure enough, that third attempt, right? So we have punch 1 through VWAP, punch 2 through VWAP doesn't work, and then you have to take that third punch in order for things to get rocking and rolling. That's a 20-cent pop right there in the coin, Bitcoin that is. So yeah, other than that, I'm chilling, sitting on my hand, waiting for some next opportunities. Is Tesla going to be that one? Maybe potentially. You can see the uptick on the lower time frames within that volume by time profile here on IBIT. So we're going to keep our eyes on the tape just in case there's some form of defender. But at this point and at this pace, I wouldn't be surprised if we put in a new HOD on IBIT.
All right. In on AIOS, I'm giving this to prior bar low, which is a skosh below VWAP. Prior bar low, 25.78. Current bar low, 26.70. I'm in at 27.33. I'm looking for a general hold of VWAP and an attempt at $30. We'll give this one the old college try. It's good entry here near the current bar low, but it is losing 27. So let me put in my risk parameters over here. So we have 27.33. That makes 1 hour for me, 28.88, okay? Which is good because that's below that $30 level. So let's go ahead and do that 28.88. We're going to put that beak wetter there, should that make it up. Otherwise, we get stopped out below the 25.78 area. Let's see how this ends up going. What else we got? BLDP looks like it might be making a quick move over here. I don't want to take off Poet because Poet's still dilly-dallying at that $half level, and I don't mind that. Let's put on BLDP over here. On the, not on the NZ, sorry. On the NQ, here we are trying to take out $4 again, but it's still putting in those kind of lower highs. So I'm kind of insist that this actually decisively take about 405. That's because I see a lot of resistance between 4 to about 405. Obviously, the high of the day is 409. But we're going to keep a close eye on that. All right, AIOS, it's at VWAP here. I'm not going to add. I will insist that I add into a winner rather than DCAing in here, unless it really comes down, knocks on the door of my stop, and it doesn't make any difference if I get in, like if I'm going to get out 25.78 and it's dilly-dallying at like 25.85 and not breaking that, then I'll add. But at the moment, it's holding VWAP. I don't see a bid, quite frankly, right now, and unless buyers step in at VWAP, we're going to get stopped out below prior bar low. So we're going to keep a close eye out on that, as well as BRCC. So those are the ones I'm looking at. Joey, what do you got?
Yeah, let's see what Jimmy Donnelly is up to. Playing BBI from $4 flat, watching 1 and 15-minute time frames with a 9:21.50 EMA, waiting for crossovers and tests. Breaks of the volume. Any suggestions on, okay, options plays with that one? I think that's what you're saying. You then removed that comment. Nonetheless, young boy, never leave money. Oh, okay, all right, there it goes. Jesse, I see what you did. I see what you did there. Tesla's starting to break down a little bit here, guys. Let's head over to our watch list as we're just waiting patient for some quality opportunities to set up, and then we can take advantage of them. We had Apple continuing to climb all the way up to 283 here today. Is that, no, oh, not too far off of it, a couple of dollars or so, right? So we get into 287 as that wick high. The previous all-time high on this one is around 288.50. So let's see if we can continue on that path. I mean, in the next couple of days, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a full-blown recovery here in AAPL. We want to draw our basic trend line from the trough there to that previous peak. Now, we went over Tesla. We've been talking about that enough here today. How is Ethereum performing on today's session? Not that good. Choppy mess in the crypto space. I mean, I'm not surprised by this. I'm waiting for Ethereum to break through this 1875 level. I think this is going to be a trade, right? Like, so if we open up around this wick high or this previous close, and then it's just a strong, it's a bullish day within the crypto land, then I think Ethereum's going to rock and roll, and that's a trade. I mean, think about how much we were trading this last summer, and it just completely cools down to the point where Ethereum dropped 60%, and you're like, all right, well, what are we even doing with this thing? Why are we even looking at it? And liquidity issues just honestly really started to arise. I mean, liquidity just out the window. It's not nearly as liquid as it was before when we were trading it in the summer and throughout this whole trend when Ethereum was just off to the races, obviously, in regards to the Genius and the Clarity Act. But Bitcoin, okay, is this going to be your time to engage here on Tesla as 392 is holding up? We want to see that rounded bottom start to be formed, a base, right? So you can get to as low as you can to this end of the range and then curl over and then maybe somewhat of a recovery. But what isn't good is that the market is climbing higher and putting in new highs of days while Tesla is just hovering around its low of the day. So it's a weak underlying at this moment. 10 billion FSD miles, Sharif, logged for Tesla. So that's some pretty good stuff. Yeah, man, a lot of people can get behind. I think that had a little bit, obviously, uptick in Europe sales yesterday as well. So, yeah, a couple good things going forward. And we talk about autonomous miles and how Waymo is outpacing them. We don't ever take into consideration the FSD miles that Tesla's clocking in. So, Katina, man, you got to add up those miles. Just do it for a month, brother. Do us all a favor. Pick me up in the morning. Pick me up in the morning on that FSD subscription.
Can I say something else? There's data that Tesla has that Waymo can never get, which is basically disengagements and human behaviors in certain contexts and in certain situations. For example, what is the human, what's the threshold for autonomy? So for like if you're at a specific intersection and there's a lot of disengagements at that specific intersection or a specific type of intersection, that's all data that Tesla has about human behavior and how to design FSD that Waymo could never get because there's no driver there. There's nobody, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, fair.
So I like Tesla's data a little bit better. Personally, I like the system. I think it's more streamlined. We know about LiDAR, the better technical side of LiDAR, but there we go. All right, I just have to focus at the moment. Right now, we're in AIOS and we're in POET. Basically, break even here on AIOS. The spread is really opening up. And it is a little concerning here. So it's holding VWAP, but we have multiple bar lows, lower highs, excuse me. And we're not really finding that aggressive bounce off the volume weighted average price quite yet. So we're in and out of the money. We're a little bit in, a little bit out. Let's see how this cookie crumbles.
Check your DMs.
Yeah, just give me a sec, brother. So let's let this trade resolve, and then I'll take care of that. So continuing to watch here, 27.5 is what we're showing. But look at the spread. It's almost $1. It's 26.56 on the level 1, that is. If you look at the level 2, it's 26.98, 27.30. So about 35, 40 penny spread. But the level 1 definitely giving me a little bit of concern. There it goes into 28. Let's cross. There we go, baby. Now we're taking it. We're doing it live. Let's go up into 28.5. Looking for a bigger move here. Looking for a little bit more. Let's see if we can price spike up into the high 28s. On this one, 28.40. Looking for a little bit more. It definitely didn't cross my resting order. That was something that I punched out with willy-nilly there. So definitely didn't make it all the way up there. So the prior bar high, 28.28. Currently, we're showing 28.38. So no continuation above this level, at least not yet. So going to pack the patience here. Looking for a bigger move up, Joey.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, I'm looking for a potential long here on Tesla. We are starting to slowly curl over. So let's see if we can engage here momentarily. I mean, 1320 is the lower end of the range. We're pretty much at that level. We can give it to about 11, so about 9 cents. A little bit more that we want to give it. So let's engage here on some Tesla just in case we do want to get a move back in towards the volume weighted average price. So that's what we're looking for here on this name. If it cracks 1310s on TSLA, then we just get out of the trade. I mean, there goes Bitcoin right back up to 46.23, so that's not bad with a high of around 46.27. That's a pretty good move. Yeah, other than that, guys, like a nice indecision print off of the lows, right? So maybe this is going to be our signal. This is going to be our stopping. There's no volume really behind it. But here, you just give it a little bit of room. It's either it's going to go or it's not. The longer that it takes to do, the less I like it. So what I'm finding here is essentially with my style of trading, it works either relatively quick, the longer that you're sitting in the trade. And I know you don't want to hop out prematurely or anything along those lines, but sometimes it's just like, hey, if you know your system, and then within a couple of seconds of you entering the trade or right away even, it starts to move for you, but if it doesn't, and then it's like the longer that it chops around, I look at it as it's somewhat of an accumulation phase before it continues to move to the sell side. And that was the narrative here on IBIT, all right? Pins starting to recover. I was thinking you're going to get that $23 break here on pins. Not necessarily the case. And I remember trading this previous quarter. The last time it reported, it was like, okay, we get a nice, I believe I had a nice short on it. And then out of nowhere, it just started to rip higher and just squeeze. So whatever happened there is just like, oh, okay, all right, nonetheless. So, I mean, if it doesn't break this level, this is a big-time shelf, and you can see the price action within the buying really starting to cool off here. But we're in Tesla starting to slightly uptick. I went to half risk on this one. I don't know how much of a full-on recovery we're going to get, but we're going to try to hold this all the way into VWAP. That's
my man. All right, AIOS, we're doing it live. Here we go, 28.5. We got 27.33. I'm looking for a breach of 30, man. I'd like to see a decisive breach of 30, and then I'm going to add into this position, which is a little risky. Let me explain why. Take a look at the bottom screen there where I'm circling. Look at that topping tail candle, the ugliest of all candles. If you're a long trader, well, maybe not. Maybe you're looking for a dip into support. But this candle, not good for me. Reason is, it breaches 30, and it breaches it quite aggressively. 31.78 is the high. So it breaches it by $1.78, okay? And then it tanks. It loses the bid. It halts down into about 27. The halt opens up, and it drops into 23 and a quarter. So needless to say, losing like $8 just like that off a halt doesn't make you feel, like you should be punching in aggressively through the break of 30. But that was the first time. Let's see what happens the second time. Anyway, back into break even we go. Anything below 27 now ends a trade for me. I'm holding still a little bit, but we're going to be positive on it no matter what. So, well, shouldn't say that. Maybe I'll get some slippage. In any event, I'm holding here. I'm looking for a holding of 27. If it breaches 27, I'm going to stop out. I'm looking for a break above 30. We did breach prior bar high on AIOS, and now it's losing it, and it's turning into a topping tail candle that's red. All right, so that's that trade. Poet, we're doing okay on Poet. We've taken out a decent portion of the position over here. It does look like it just keeps getting more resistance at this. I want to say 2/3, half to 2/3, $0.50 to 2/3. So 9.54 now into 53, 52. I got 57s on. I'm giving it, let me tell you, my stop over here at the risk of getting stop hunted. I know I do believe in that. We're giving it to 9.15 into 9.10. I probably won't do that. Prior bar low is 9.47. I'll give it to the mid 40s, and here's the $0.50. It's losing the $0.50. Yeah, that ain't the move here. I'm not looking for that. There's just so much resistance up here on Poet. It just keeps putting in more resistance at around the $0.50 to 2/3. So I don't know how this cookie crumbles. I could insist that this one hold up above the 10 EMA. The 10 EMA is giving to 1/3. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I was giving it to the low of the 11 o'clock candle. The low of that was 9.17. That's why I put 9.15. But since then, the price action has obviously developed, and now there is the 10 EMA on the 5. The 10 EMA on the 5 is 9 1/3, 9.34, 9.33. That's where I'll give it to, so I'm going to move up my stop on Poet. Don't want to give too much back, but still focusing here on AIOS, looking for a bigger move above 30. We're not getting it. It doesn't feel like we're going to get it, quite frankly, when you have a wider view of the time frame. And here comes 27. It's going to lose 27 here any second. When you look at the wider view of the time frame, we're just putting in lower highs, and it's basically unabated lower highs. There's 1 or 2 candles that do breach the prior bar high on a wick basis, but nothing closes. So looks like as if these ones are a little bit top heavy at the moment. So that's what I'm looking at right now, Joey. I don't mind setting up on BRCC, which is looking less top heavy, and BLDP is taking out those levels that we talked about earlier. It's taking out that 405 almost into 409. But there goes AIOS again, man, back into 28.20, holds 27 clean. And here we are knocking on the door of 28 again. So I'm going to continue to hold this. If it breaches 27, I'm out. If it gets into 30 or thereabouts, I'm also out. But I'm out for profit taking, Joe.
All right, let's go over some of our viewers here on TikTok, as Bravely kindly asking us to give them a nice little shout out.
Hola.
Hola. ¿Cómo estás usted, boy?
Oh. TikTok.
TikTok.
As my mom would say. Did you go on TikTok?
Today?
Yeah, no, I didn't. Not today.
All right.
Hopefully Ram makes me a video today. Ram?
Silver.
Ram?
She locked in. Silver, what's going on? N08, Joshua Bunchin, Oluivi, Sassy for Life. Oh, okay.
Crazy.
Camilo, what's up? Kendrick, Koala, Jag, Libror. Okay, talent. This is really lackluster, guys. I apologize. Dog, Jello. We gotta amp this up. Lucky, Ella, Taurus, Crystal Leg, Patrick Melville, Bax, Escoda, Buzz Bruno, and we have Steven Jackson, who's in the chat all the time. I see that. Let's get it, Steven. And Chaotic Knight. I like that one. Hail Caesar, Maximus Aurelius. All right. Then.
Oh.
Or Marcus Aurelius, sorry.
Marcus
Aurelius. You know Marcus Aurelius?
I do.
All right, I'm playing it. Roby, Egg, Z, and As a Man Thinketh. All right, I like that one. We're still sitting in this trade here. Oh, there goes Pins. Pins is finally breaking that trend. So let's get involved in a little bit of Pins here, ladies and gents. This is the trend line that I was looking at here. So we just drew that higher low. And then now we're starting to breach it. So let's get involved in some Pins. We're going to hit it up here and see if we can get that continuation to the downside and maybe even retest the LOD, low of the day, right? You guessed it. Congratulations. Don't you love it when you hit your hockey and then it changes the ticker on
I
L2?
Absolutely love it.
Man, oh man.
If there is something that I like better, I can't even remember right now.
Oh, I like that. Sorry, sarcasm. We're down. Oh, okay, there we go. Pins up nicely here today. So let's see if we're going to give back a little bit of that move. Initial flush to the downside right out of the opening gates, but now we are starting to move a little bit lower. Got to be cautious with this one. I mean, is this supposed to be negative or positive? All right, nonetheless, hey, $23. If we can break through that, then I like our chances. But I'm also prepared to get out of this name relatively quick if it decides that it wants to squeeze and punch through this resistance zone one more time. Why? Because we don't have time for that nonsense. It's either it's going to work for us or it's not. It's literally what our relationship is right now. It's either you're going to work, it's good, we like each other, or you're not going to work, and then I'm just going to toss you to the side.
Oh, that's what my dad told me at 21.
Oh yeah, did he?
I'm kidding, bro.
That's all right, man. Hey, man,
like either work.
The nuisance.
No, you get it. No,
or you got to get out of here. All right. Anyways, but there goes Tesla. This thing's been an absolute grinder. Shout out to people who just do nothing. But let's get this breakdown. The trend line is now officially breached on pins, and then we're slowly climbing higher, not only in Bitcoin, but also in Tesla, as we're now 1326 and change. We want to try to diamond hands this all the way to the volume weighted average price, which is going to put us approximately right at 1345.
Money, 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 money.
There goes AIOS ripping through 30. There's 3121. 3121 limit up, guys. Here we go again on AIOS. This one is absolutely ripping. Clean hold of 27 on the last move and a clean hold of VWAP, and we're rewarded. This one just ripped up from 29, breached through 30, and now it is halted up 31.21 halt time, 11:30:18 earliest. This will be open 11:35:18 tap, already showing 33, dropping to 32, 31.96. You guys get it. It's all over the place, but AIOS is looking fantastic. It's looking awfully bull flaggish. We're going to keep a very close eye out on this one. Let's see if we can get in a little bit here. But I want to remind you guys, the last time we did breach 30, we did drop off pretty aggressively. The high of the 10:40 a.m. bar, 31.78. And then when all was said and done, on the opening of the halt, we dipped all the way down into 23, low 23s. So be on the lookout here for resistance. Keep a close eye on the top, and the top is losing it in a hurry, Joseph. It is down at 27.78 right now. The halt level, 31.21. Yeah, these ones, they live fast, they live furious, man. You got to get them when you can, but make sure you're using sound risk management here. Just before we go to Adair for the crypto segment, there goes EVER ripping through $22 into 22.62. We're talking about the two bull flags of note over here, one in the aftermarket yesterday, one in regular trading hours today. You get the buyers. Look at the clean hold of the 10 EMA and just rips up above that $22 area, almost on the way to 23. Trade this one carefully as well. Going to keep a close eye on EVER. We're going to Adair for the crypto segment.
Let's talk about MSCR earnings after the bell here. They're expected to come out at 4 p.m. We'll talk about this before we get to crypto overall. We are expecting this company to post losses. So Strategy expected to post losses of $30.41 per share. Revenue estimate here, $124.6 million. Here's a daily chart at MSCR. Certainly hanging out around that 190 level, which has served as resistance previously. Let's see how that level comes into play tonight, if at all. Now, speaking of levels here, Bitcoin just barreling past that 80,000 level. We're now above that area that served as support going back to November of 2025, namely that 80.5 level, currently trading around 81 halves. Next level of prior support that could turn to resistance potentially here comes in December. Topped this level a couple times. That's 80, just shy of 84,000. So let's see if 84K proves to be a level of resistance for BTC if we're able to push above it. Back to you.
All right, Joe, I got to cover this. PN is also ripping. We have two ones that are halted right now. PN is halted at $8.93. That's the chart on PN. It's had a couple of good days, mostly Friday, the 1st of May. Yesterday, we were looking at this one. We kept talking about how it kept rejecting the reclaim of VWAP, so I stayed away from PN. Yesterday, today, it's back. It's got a lot less volume on its hands, having only traded 1.38 million shares. I'm assuming because of the umpteen amount of halts. Let's flip to the one. Each of these dashes, if you're able to count them on your side of the screen, I don't know if it's high quality enough, is a minute. So just to give you an idea, the first halt up on PN today, 10:56, didn't open up till 11:06. So 10-minute halt there. Then it halted up basically immediately at 11:06. It didn't unhalt to 11:31. So you got to be ready for this, okay? Because that's really a long time to be waiting for that. About 25 minutes there worth of halts. As if you're a newer trader, it's my responsibility to tell you that these volatility halts come in waves of 5 minutes. The minimum it'll be halted for is 5, but it can be 10, 15, 20, etc. So this one ended up being 15. So, traded carefully, but PN, in my purview, very, very interested in this one, Joey. So we're going to keep a close eye on that, brother.
All right, man. Yeah, I mean, we're almost out of that one, but it's starting to come back in. The tape is really fishy on this name, and now we're getting this pullback here in Tesla. The thing is, right, guys, so like we're trying to catch the bottom on this name for somewhat of a recovery, but considering the market has been slowly grinding higher and now starting to come back into VWAP, you can see that Tesla's weakness is really starting to show itself. So we have to be prepared to get out of it. NYSE stocks are what Amex is to Sharif. So, I mean, I can't, sometimes they're just completely annoying. What they'll do is they'll just chop around, and then eventually, like, when no one's really paying attention anymore, then they'll make that a little bit larger of a move. So, all right, Joey, TA on AXP for Jan calls 320. Is that American Express?
AXP?
Yes, sir, it is. 320 calls. When do they report? For January.
AIOS open.
I mean, you should be all right. January is quite a ways away. Yeah, I mean, just understand what you're doing with them. Consistent lower highs, but you know how the wealthy do. They typically do all right, and eventually this name will recover. Big time run up. But if we zoom out and head over to a higher time frame, look at the bigger picture, right? So you have this drawdown. What was this previous one here from 325 all the way down to 222? 31%. And where are we kicking at right there? Around 25% at that low. So keep an eye on it. I'm not saying that... I think this would be a good time to engage once this trend breaks, right? You have a weekly, higher the time frame, the more conviction you can have potentially within that trade. Breaks to the backside, and then boom, maybe off to the races. So, I mean, don't jump the gun too early on that, in my opinion. And then sure enough, once you have an open on the other side of this trend line, then I think that'd be a good time to get involved on some AXP. It was a good call. I just scalped it. Thanks for the call out. On what, my friend? On pins? Pins, yeah, I mean, it's coming right back in here. The tape, I'm going to pull that up for you guys because what I'm seeing on the tape and what is actually on the level 2 are two totally different things. And I'm like, what is going on here? That doesn't make very much sense. It's printing 20s, but yet the bid and the ask are sitting at like 27 and 22. So I'm just like, what is going on? Nonetheless, it was a good call. Anyways, shows you APLD breakout.
Yeah,
is APLD moving? No way.
Sorry, I was looking at A-Lab. Sorry,
Yo, APLD is him and has been him for quite some time. Man, I really like this stock. It's like, what do these guys even really do? I know they signed a big deal not too long ago to lease something. Yeah, 300 million senior secured notes. Oh, so they did an offering maybe or something along those lines. But yeah, APLD looking absolutely fantastic. Not too bad of a look at this pace. I wouldn't be surprised if it breaks this previous pivot of $43.
Intel is up 15%.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
like,
man. Micron's up 10.
Look at DRAM. DRAM is him.
What the hell, Joe?
Yeah, DRAM.
Unreal, some of these. Yeah, APLD up 5 1/3. Not bad at all. All right, just watching AIOS here. I was looking at getting back in, but as you can see, I'm not. And the reason I'm not is because it doesn't look that good. I'm out of the money on Poet. I'm going to get stopped out if it loses prior bar low. Prior bar low is 928, so you know where my stop goes there. Let's keep an eye out on that. If it drops, then that means it fails the 10. It means it's not jiving with how I trade, which is fine. So we'll go 1 for 1. We'll stay very positive though, as this one was a much more profitable trade than POET will be a negative trade, thankfully. So we're going to keep a close eye here on AIOS. As I mentioned, Poet not looking that good. Doesn't hold the $quarter. I'm Gonzino. What? BLDP is halted. No, it's not. Why is this grayed out? Oh, that's because it's PN. My mistake. I was like, what's going on? That's not accurate. BLDP. Excuse me. Let me just load this up. Yeah. Okay. There we go. So I'm waiting for PN to unhalt. It's 11:31:50. Currently, the time is 11:38:41. So it won't obviously be a 5-minute halt. It could be 10. We'll wait and see. But I'm very interested in PN. It doesn't have a lot in the way of volume, but it's really ripping. Now, the problem is we're showing a top about 1 penny higher than where we halted, showing 8.94. The halt price, 8.93. And there we go. So we're going to get stopped out of Poet here. Let's just go back to Poet. It's losing the bid in a hurry, and I think I just did get stopped out, but only for half the shares, so let's just end it right there. We're going to end that trade. We'll go negative on Poet, which is fine. Still positive on the day. And if Poet wants to weasel back in and hold structure, we'll get involved in that. But for the moment, Poet Looks like it might be heading down back to 9. We'll keep a close eye on that. How's AIOS doing? It's like hugging $30, a little unusual on this one. Looks like there's a seller here in and around 30, sometimes a little bit below 30, sometimes a little bit above, but the current bar is quite rangy. 32.42 high, 28 on the button area low. So that is something to keep an eye out there for AIOS. Very, very rangy, but yeah, that's it. We got to go to Derek because there seems to be big news.
Yeah, just be aware here, guys. Not much too much of a market move, but President Trump talking about Iran here. He was asked, what will count as a violation of the ceasefire? Like, what will you guys see as a violation? He said, quote, you'll find out. So we're going to have to wait and see here. Market near its highs. President Trump further saying that Iran knows what not to do and what to avoid. Also comments coming from the UAE president here saying that they remain able to deter any aggression. So a couple comments here from a geopolitical standpoint. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Joey,
yes,
we have a guest here that, you know, the viewers may or may not know. He's been on the show before I was even a viewer, let alone on the show as a host.
Yeah.
He usually comes on Wednesdays,
you know what?
sometimes Thursdays, but usually he's in studio. He travels a lot.
Yeah.
I'm giving a lot of hints away here to see if our viewers can pick up on
you know who he kind of reminds me of?
Who?
Bruce Wayne. He feels like he gives
a little bit.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
He is a little bit.
He's always somewhere.
Certainly is well dressed.
Right? He's always somewhere too, right?
There's no question about that.
The Caped Crusader, maybe.
Let's bring in everybody's favorite guest, Raheem Alani. There's my man. How's it going, Raheem? Where are you, brother?
We are at Select USA in just outside of Washington, D.C. Conference related to opportunities here in the great country of the United States of America.
Excellent. What's that conference all about? What are you there looking into?
Well, so yeah, the conference is, they've got delegations from countries all over the world, businesses that want to be doing business in and with the U.S. So all of the states are represented. Yesterday morning, we were front and center for Secretary Lutnick. And basically, he was just talking about the fact that the U.S. is going. And if you want to be part of the great economy here in the U.S., you got to jump on. And he coined, I don't know if he coined the term, but Trump speed. So as Adara was just speaking, everything is moving at a new speed called Trump speed. So you can make a little logo. Sean can make a little logo for that. Anytime something happens fast, it's going to be Trump speed here.
I love hearing that. And I'm assuming there's a big build in America, produce in America, do everything in America push.
150%. Each of the states, I've had the opportunity to meet a couple of governors. We actually have just after this, going to hop on with a meeting with one of the governors where there are some mining assets. And again, it's go, 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 build here, build here, build here, and develop here. And if you are with that cause, there's a lot of government support here, and it's great to see.
And I know one of your main focuses has obviously been mining, minerals, commodities, Raheem, and that is very much in vogue right now, whether you're looking at oil and energy security, or whether you're looking at the critical minerals, rare earth elements for microchips and everything else. There seems to be a big, huge push there. What more info can you give us on that?
Yeah, no, certainly it's identifying the assets. There are assets here in the States, obviously. There are companies and countries that have access to rare earths as well. And the U.S. wants to ensure that they are locking up supply chain because they don't want to get to a point where, you've got all the chips, you're doing the semiconductors, you're doing all the things, and then finding out you're short on lithium or you're short on zinc or whatever it is. So it's great to see all these different countries that are coming here, and there definitely is a big push with some of the particular governors. They want to see assets developed in their particular states as well, because of the fact that they're going to need all of these things. And it's like, you have the asset here. I hope you guys can see it. So, but theoretically, you have the asset here. You want to have the refining capability close by because you're going to be shipping the product. We were with Oklahoma yesterday, and they were talking about the fact that I think it's in Kansas. There's a chip manufacturer, and they want to have critical minerals developed in Oklahoma so that they can deliver it to the chip manufacturer. So they want a lot of proximity, and they are doing anything they can to have those assets developed in country.
Hey, Raheem, how's it going? I want to take a couple steps back here and more or less talk about what you were referring to not too long ago, in the fact that a lot of countries are coming over and they want to do business with the United States. What I was thinking was essentially, we know we had the tariff tantrum and countries started to diversify their trade. What is the overall sentiment there? And do you find that typically, maybe under a different government, you would see more countries there wanting to do business with the States, or do you think it's relatively strong?
So it's a great question, Joe. Yesterday, we had the privilege of sitting at a round table with the ambassador of the U.S. to Canada and the ambassador of Canada to the U.S. And, you know, being in Canada, we have a diametrically different opinion on how things should, not diametrically different, but on how things go in the countries that we are lining up with and the way the U.S. is doing what they're doing with respect to tariffs and how they want to cooperate and work with other countries. So, I wouldn't go with the tantrum word per se, but countries are definitely coming here to do business. The Canadian lens is because there are these things that happen in very quick order, like Adair just mentioned, things happen very quickly. Some countries are saying they want to diversify away from the U.S., and other countries are saying they want to be here in the U.S. because of the economic prowess of what's being provided by the government. So it just depends on your lens.
Yeah, absolutely. So one more question here, just in regards to China, essentially holding the majority of the refineries within the mineral space. Are we seeing anything? We know Donald Trump's onshoring plan. Are we starting to see more of a move and potentially the build out of more refineries in North America?
I definitely think so. Maybe speaking out of school here, but I was just speaking with a particular state, again, just about 20 minutes ago, and they noticed on our business card that we have offices in China as well as the U.S., and they're like, are you looking at stuff for China or are you looking at stuff for the U.S.? And it was a very interesting question because this state is a very, very conservative state. And I said, no, we're looking at assets and investing into assets here in the States and developing those assets onshore. So there is a big kind of, I wouldn't call it a butting of heads, but definitely do these countries want access to the resources, and can they get the resources here versus Chinese entities that are developing those assets in China as well as outside of China and bringing the assets and resources back to China for refining purposes. So it is kind of a race to who can get as much stuff as possible. So we're definitely seeing that hurry up and go point of view, and the national supply chain here in the U.S. has a big impetus on that.
Great response, Rima. I had a quick question for you with respect to basically the vertical integration push and the basically a price bottom. So my understanding was anybody who wanted to compete with the Chinese in rare earths or minerals, whether it was extraction or refining, the Chinese would come in, they'd undercut them, they'd drop the prices aggressively, basically push them out of business, make it unprofitable for them to operate, and then they'd have free reign sort of to be able to dictate market terms. We saw the U.S. government come in and say, no, we're going to give you a minimum price, therefore the Chinese can't undercut you. Are you seeing that really kind of create confidence with some of these mining companies and their ability to throw money behind it and initiate?
Yeah, so for our viewers, Project Vault and Project Forge are two things that have been initiated here in the States. And Project Vault comes with the idea around mineral security and price floors. So we're yet to see the full result of that, and I think it's going to continue to develop. But you are seeing different U.S. entities go in and provide the security to the companies via whether it's EXIM, DFC, Department of War, Department of Energy. They're also making investments, and they're putting their money where their mouths are to help the companies develop. And then I think we will see that price floor come. But that's all part of these political negotiations. Again, I was speaking with the Ambassador Wiseman yesterday, and obviously my lens is more onto mining, and I was talking about that, and he said, but there are other things that we have to consider here in Canada. There's dairy, there's steel, there's auto. So everything can't be seen in a vacuum as much as we'd like to. But I definitely think the price flooring that you just mentioned is going to be very, very, very key, and it's going to be the way that the U.S. is going to combat China.
Fantastic stuff. One final question here, Rahim. So essentially, we know the narrative in the States is drill, baby, drill, and we often talk about the Ring of Fire here in Ontario. How's the progress with that going? Are the steps really starting to form, or what's going on with it? Is it lagging a bit?
It's a great question. And again, being Canadian, being from Ontario, we do love our province and we do love the government, and they are making pushes. But it's not as quick as what the U.S. does. And so when even entities in the U.S. are looking at the Ring of Fire, and they have spoken about the Ring of Fire, to be frank, it can't be a conversation where it's in 6 years we'll have a road built. It's got to be faster to be competitive. We do have a dearth of rare minerals and critical minerals in Canada, and the Ring of Fire, things like that. That infrastructure needs to be built for us to be able to be of substantive value.
Perfect. Fantastic.
Thank you very much, Raheem, for coming on. Great information, man. And you're always traveling, Raheem.
Yeah,
you're always traveling.
I was going to say, I know the audience likes to talk about stocks when I come on, talk about particular stocks. I apologize if it was a little bit waxing poetic about politics. So I can't see the comments, and you guys know that I always look at the audience's comments when I'm on. So hopefully they didn't get too bored with the political.
Not at all.
No, they were loving it, actually.
They're loving it, brother.
Yeah. Where are you off to next? We'll close it off with that.
I am going to Manhattan on Thursday. I'm going for a business trip.
Love it.
It's my son's business trip.
Hey, what's he doing out there?
I'll share some footage, but he's walking in a fashion show in Manhattan on Saturday.
Like father, like son, right?
Like mother, guys.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think you're pretty well dressed, Reeb. So make your way onto that runway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching a 4-year-old walk on a runway, and people are paying money to attend this fashion show. It's wild.
Absolutely love it.
I figured out how to get a cut.
Right? Yeah, there's got to be some sort of royalties here. Well, of course, you're going to save it in a savings account for the little guy. No question about it.
You know, my son likes his stock talk, right?
I love it. Start him early, Reem, and he's got a good mentor there.
100%. He's probably already in some gold, right? Yeah.
I would be.
Hey, he is gold and copper.
So there you go. Fantastic stuff. All right, brother. Much appreciated. Thank you for coming on.
All right, guys.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Ciao.
You too. Thank you very much, Raheem, for that great information. Guys, just got to get in here. PN is ripping. All right, we just got in right at $9, scalped up right as it was rejecting 10. There's a huge seller at $10 though, guys, at PN. Every time we get an aggressive buy that moves this one up right into that $10 area, we are being met with aggressive selling. Here it is again into 97. Look at the selling come in there. Can't shake the seller at 93, 94. I'm looking for a decisive clearing of 10 and a possible move into 1063 high, perhaps a little bit more. PN really zigging and zagging here. We're going to keep a close eye on this one. But right now, we got to send you to the big desk with Adara.
Yeah, just be aware here, guys. President Trump has been discussing oil and Iran in the press conference with the children and the cabinet members since we last saw you. He said that the Hormuz situation, quote unquote, prompts countries to purchase oil from the U.S., also saying that Project Freedom will, quote, have a big impact on gasoline prices. You know, Project Freedom is that recently announced initiative to help shepherd safe passage of ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Either way here, he's saying that's going to have, quote, a big impact on gasoline prices. And again, saying that the situation with the Strait of Hormuz has prompted countries to purchase more oil from the U.S. He also said the increase in fuel prices in the short term is, quote, a small price to pay. Back to you.
Boy, I hope so. I hope this brings down gas prices because they're really quite high. Adam. Sharif, sorry, got poor connection on the plane. Congrats on the first title since your pharaoh ancestors walked the planet. I love this guy. He's so politically incorrect. I just love him for that. You look, bro, the last time we won the title, we were the Invincibles, okay? Because we didn't lose a single game. You know that, man. Yeah, that's one of the only team in the Premier League to ever do that is Arsenal. I think Leverkusen or somebody did it in the Bundesliga in Germany not that long ago. But hey, man, I'll take that and then a long hiatus of title drought just to have that title. The name Invincibles, it rings. It just flows off the tongue, Joey. But no, look. We have an easier schedule than you, Adam. And that's why I think Arsenal may have a little bit of a leg up on City there. It looks like you have some tougher games. We are playing two of the bottom teams. I think we play Burnley and West Ham, and they're both in the relegation zone. Burnley, they're done. They're going down. West Ham still has a shot. It's them and Tottenham, so they could fight pretty hard. And I think we're playing at West Ham as well, which makes it a bit more difficult. That's a derby, obviously, with both our London teams. In any event, Joey, I'm continuing to watch here. PN, as I talk smack to Adam, West Abroad. Dude, I think he's back in Mexico or something now.
He was in Mexico City yesterday. Yeah, there he is. He's talking
to Mimi.
Get under shares earlier last year.
Joey, number one, first and foremost, AI OS is tanking. It's really bad. It's lost VWAP. It's 32.45 high. We're about to lose $22 now. So this one is going to, lose a spot on the side chart any moment. PN, however, still looking like it has some support here in and around 9. By the same vein, I should say, it has resistance at 10 that we can't shake. So I want to see how this one does. A couple of topping tail candles in a row, Joey. One that made the high of the day in a 10.63. The other one is the one that's rejecting 10 right now on the 5-minute chart. So I'm all eyes. We're going to keep a close eye on this one. Let's see what we get.
All right, PIN's working out for us a little bit here, but what is not is Tesla. We were going to take it all out at 1340s. But we're not getting that right now, and it looks like it might want to start to come back in. You can see it had an indecision print during that interview here with Raheem, so we start to crawl right back over, and now we're really starting to pick up some steam towards the low of the day. Pinterest keeps selling. Even though I only have a quarter of what I have on pins, we'll take it. As for Tesla, doesn't want to rally or even recover here today on the session. So, I mean, come on, Elon. I don't know why I hit that, but nonetheless, guys, I mean, we have this trade on right now. We're coming right back into the break even. We are only pennies away from getting that full position out, and I was being prepared. I didn't even care to really leave on any for a runner. It's like, Joe, well, that's 3 cents. Why are you holding on to it? Because I had a specific target, and you can see that it's correlated with that base. I'm pointing at the screen again, like you guys can see it. You can see that it's correlated with a base right here, right? So that's where I kind of wanted to aim for. No, it's not kind of. It's exactly where I wanted to aim for, and we weren't fortunate enough to get it. But pins, this Nicey boys, man. Yeah, with the Raheem. Yeah, the Raheem will be over there. But there it is. A nice move to the downside. Took a little while for it to get going, but that support level eventually did break. So yeah, slowly. I only have a quarter of the amount of size that I have on this position. And watch out. Is this printing 87? Oh no, it fluctuates. I'm like, man, watch out for this name because it really can start to squeeze. Now we're printing 86s. We'll take that one. There, a clean flush down. Now printing 83, Sharif on pins. Too bad. See, that's how it typically works, right? The one that you're like, all right, let's start a little bit slower on it, and then opposed to what we have going on here with Tesla, it's coming right back into our break even. I'm going to remove half of the position right here at 83s, for it is working nicely for us. Shout out to John Chayka, the new burger manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think that's going to work out really.
I couldn't believe this stuff. They were just saying straight to his face. He's
Rightfully
like,
so.
I talked to 20 of the biggest names in the NHL. And all but one used words like con artist or salesman. Yeah. What else did they say? There were other words, other adjectives.
Yeah, like not very nice words, that's for sure.
And there was only one who endorsed it. So then the GM, who's that responded to him?
Pelly, he's the president.
He's the president.
He's like
well, I was talking to different people then.
He's like the head of the board of MLSE for the Leafs. But yeah, anyways, that guy's got to go. He's got to get out of here. Did you see his reply?
Hold on, can you explain this to me a little bit here? What was his association with the Arizona team? Are we talking about the Coyotes?
Yeah, the Coyotes.
Okay, so this is what you were telling me about before.
Yeah, he was the general manager. Okay, so he was the general manager of the Arizona Coyotes.
And they're no longer an entity.
They're now the Utah Mammoth.
Got it.
Right, so Arizona. So he was the last guy at the helm there.
Was he the reason for the failure?
There's a bunch of things, right?
Okay.
Like you can't make him the single factor, but he was a part of it, right? As the general manager, you got to take some of that into consideration. Sure. But a lot of the players within the NHL don't like is that there's this individual named Shane Doan.
Okay. I've heard of him.
Yeah, Shane, a great all-time a great hockey player. Anyways, nonetheless, whole career with Arizona, was willing to do anything to stay with Arizona. Pay cut, everything. Chayka, boom, see you later. Pigeon tosses him out there, and essentially, so that's why they're like, this guy, he's a snake. Right? And he was really young at the time, but he hasn't been in the NHL for 6 years.
Well, he's running franchises now, Joey.
He's running Wendy's.
Yeah.
He's running Wendy's.
Oh, where's Wendy's Tendies at?
Yeah, wait, I don't know. I haven't seen him in a couple of days. We're getting this continued breakdown as we're printing 78s now on pins. We removed half of the position. Oh, well, I mean, should we have removed that much? It is what it is. We could have took a third out, but we're going to take some profits when we can here because Tesla not wanting to cooperate and continue and run into our price target that we were only a couple of pennies away. Should we have taken it? Maybe so. Are we going to allow this to go all the way into our stop loss? Absolutely. But we're going to get out when we're supposed to, just in case it wants to take an additional leg lower. And the Nasdaq is really starting to form some of a shelf here, right? Like a steady channel up and to the right. But I wouldn't be surprised if you have sellers engage and then push price right back in towards the volume-weighted average price. Could I be totally wrong? Absolutely. It depends on what Apple's up to, what Google and some of the other larger names are doing in order if we're going to continue this grind or not. But if we get a headline step in, watch out. It will only take one to eliminate all of today's gains here in the Nasdaq and in the SPY.
So, hey, man, some good news coming out of Europe. Remember when President Trump was coming at them and was going to put another 25% tariffs on cars, this, that, and the other, because they weren't implementing some of the trade agreement details or deals?
Yeah.
So they just told the U.S., the EU tells the U.S. they should implement key parts of the trade deal by July. I don't know exactly what that means, which parts, when in July, but that's probably got to be, that's going to alleviate some of the tensions there.
Yeah.
Also, the SEC is unveiling their proposal to allow for semi-annual reporting. We know that President Trump wanted to get away from that whole thing where they had to do quarterly report earning or reporting. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm killing it right now. But that should be interesting as well. Anyway, I don't think there's going to be Neil's lesson of the day today because I don't see him here, but we're going to go to Happening Now for Adara, and then we'll be back shortly.
Nasdaq just hanging out here around these intraday highs of 682. Nice look here for the Nasdaq, but can we hold this area or are we going to push lower? We'll have to wait and find out. S&P 500 a little bit more removed from these intraday highs and actually kind of at this point below still these levels that we were trading at on Friday. Now, it is worth noting President Trump also praised the stock market performance during his comments with these children, talking about this new proclamation for fitness for kids. That just ended. He also spoke a lot about oil here, so keep an eye on USO. President Trump, over the last 20 or so minutes, making a handful of comments on oil, including saying that we're seeing a lot of countries buying oil from the U.S. now due to the situation in Iran with the Strait of Hormuz. He also said that higher fuel prices are, quote, a small price to pay for the goals of this operation. Palantir, of course, on watch. PLTR here, Q1 2026 commercial and government revenue continuing to grow sequentially and year over year. Commercial revenue growth here still over 100%, but a little bit smaller than it was last quarter, while government revenue, while growing at a slower rate than commercial revenue, continuing this path to the upside when it comes to its growth. AMD earnings on watch after the bell, along with those of SMCI, LITE, BBAI, et cetera, et cetera. AMD here, we're looking for just under $10 billion in revenue and earnings of $129 per share. Join us on the market recap for all of these earnings and check us out on X at TTV Research for A, live earnings coverage during the recap show, and B, tons of pre-earnings prep graphics. Back to you.
Yen is ripping again, Joe.
All right, man. Good stuff. We took a little bit more off here on pins, slightly ITM once again here on Tesla. Can we hold up? Can we get that move back in towards the volume-weighted average price? We've already failed to establish a break through it, and we're trading under it. So what do we have? Sellers in complete control so far on this session. You had that strong move, but then you double top almost to the penny at that 402.15 marker, and then poop. Down to the downside we go here on Tesla, but pins, it's him today, well, for us anyways. There's much better names, the Marvels, Google. Let's head over to our watch list. We haven't pulled up the options chain, guys. If you guys have any questions in regards to the options, you know what to do. Take your boy, and we'll go over a couple of the names. But it's time for us to go over and take a look at how NVDA has been performing on today. The forgotten stock. That's what we're going to call this one, Shreve. Apple, how you doing? All right, hovering around those highs with the high around 283. We already went over this. It's about $6 off of its previous all-time high. That ain't nothing for Apple to gain a little bit of ground. Now, Microsoft heading a little bit lower, guys. The weakest out of the Mag 7 and continuing to be so. Tesla, we don't want to go over that. We've been beating that one essentially dry. Meta, oh my Atlanta. How much from off the highs are we down, Sharif? 24%. Bang, I knew you were busy, so I figured I'd just answer it for you. And Palantir continuing to get hit on the noggin here, guys. Knockout blow, 34% to the downside on Palantir. Now, Netflix, 87 schmackers. Oh, hold on now, time out. Let's take a couple of steps back. Let's calm ourselves, breathe. And then let's take a look at that $90 level that I was referring to not too long ago. We just had this shelf in the middle of the abyss on the chart, and we're like, hey, watch out for this level to break. And then sure enough, we're now trading at $87 here on NFLX, slowly grinding higher. We'll go back to Tesla as we continue. Now, I don't even have to look at this chart. We know it's not going to be performing relatively well. When it does, we will find out and we will know, because Mark Benioff and company are not doing good. You're down to 184. There's no reason for us to take a percentage metric, even though we can. It's just absolutely brutal, and I hope that no one here is bag holding Salesforce. Now, as for MSCR, up bigly and a big time gap up here today off of that yesterday's close 184. But if we take a look of how we've been performing off of these lows, you're up 84%. So if you were buying MSTR off of the lows, you almost have 100% return in the span of the year, February, right? The second month from February 4th to yesterday, that's 84%, and even a little bit more, like we'll call it 0.5% off of that previous high. So MSTR really acting as that leverage play right now, Sharif.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Keeping a close eye on PN. I'm not liking the way that this is quite setting up at the moment, so I'm going to have to steer clear of this one for now. We're going to keep a close eye on it. I think AIOS is pretty much done. Look, there's a seller at 10, but the seller is moving down aggressively now. What's happening? Oh, it's not triggering my order. That's great. PN. So the seller is kind of pushing down little by little. So initially we saw the selling at 10. Now we're starting to see the selling at 9 2/3. I'm going to need a decisive trend change above 9, but you can see it does wick below 9. So my suggestion to you is don't put your stop right below 9. You're just going to get stopped out. Perhaps maybe try to shadow the 10 EMA. It hasn't quite made it down there. That's if your risk parameters allow for that. So it looks like the 10 EMA is like high 850s, maybe low 860s. That's what I'm quite looking at the moment. PN, I don't like AIOS. It's got to reclaim the volume weighted average price around. Poet is basically using the 10 EMA as resistance now. Prior it was support, so unless it can get above and stay above the 10 EMA, it doesn't really interest me at this level. What else we got? EVER just had an ill-fated trade. I was looking for a continuation above the 10 EMA. It did wick below 22. Look, if EVER changes its trend here and starts putting in some green candles, I'll just ride the trend. But right now, it's very much a downtrend after that 22.74 high and holding at 22, which is the good news. But I'm going to need to see a trend change vis-a-vis some higher highs and higher low candles. BRCC could be of interest to some people here. It looks like it has kind of a weird looking double top into the mid 160s, and here it is losing the bid into 153. There is basically double the support area in my humble submission at 150, the psychological area of support at 150, and then you also have VWAP at that level. So BRCC could be a hold up, but not liking anything, Joey. BLDP losing trend. Poet still not really setting up quite well. SLQT lost VWAP. I was eyeing this one for a VWAP bounce. Didn't come in at all. And now you're getting the moving averages crossing over each other. That could be a bit of a sell signal there. EVER really losing the bid now below $22. So that puts the kibosh on that theory. If there are any new small cap gappers that I don't have my eye on, guys, always interested to hear from you. Let me take a quick look at the scanner over here, see if there's anything moving. Not real. Oh, DGXX. Okay, I just spotted that one. All right, let's load that one up, Assassino. DGXX. Let's see if we can. It's coming from way, way lower. So this one's still below the volume weighted average price. This is a Bovin special here. If Bovin's in the chat, I bet you he's probably looking at this. He loves to pick these ones up off the area low. It retraces into VWAP in it. He does well with these. I don't trade them. My rule is you trade these long above the volume weighted average price. That way it tells me the buyers, for the most part, are in control as opposed to the sellers. But we're going to keep an eye out on here. DGXX. Should it reclaim the volume weighted average price, it will be in Uncle Sheriff's good books. But for now, you know where it is. Jesus thinking. well, we won't be able to say that right now, Joey.
Don't say it.
Let's look. Yeah. Well, the boss is here. So
Yeah,
you can't be throwing around that kind of stuff, Joey. But let's put this up. Let's see what people are looking at. Mike P. DeRider, SLQT, take money from me. No, don't say that, Mike. Let's see what people are CLRB, says Bill. Let's look at CLRB. Let's flip to the 5-minute here. CLRB. Yeah, so Bill, this one was really good. As you can see, right at 7 a.m., that news headline comes in, and then it was basically a fade the pop. And this is coming from a lot higher, man. This thing got to 720. We're right back down to 3.5. Now, albeit it's still positive on the day because I think closed out at 280 yesterday. But this isn't for me, Bill. I think that this is definitely a short if you're able to get your hands on it. But I feel like the best trade for the short is kind of behind it at the moment because it's basically faded all the way down into that 3.25. This is CLRB for those who are asking. Let's take a look at NVO. That's Novo Nordisk. That's not a small cap gapper, but very consolidative today is NVO. Sorry, let me throw in the ticker. I know I'm going to get hate in the chat if I don't. Yeah, not for me. If you're insisting upon trading this, buy off VWAP, sell into that 44.80, 44.75 area, but you've got some lower highs certainly here to be on the lookout for. Let's have a look at what are other people talking about here, man. I'm just looking for small cap gappers. Check out SSM, says M. Patterson. Let's check out SSM. We got, oh my Lanta, as Joey would say. What is this? Okay, we got a halter, Joey. SSM. How many shares has this done? Ah, that's why. 138,000. It didn't quite make it onto my my list because it hasn't done enough volume. My scanner, that is. But this is good looking. You're going to have to be careful with this one, obviously, because of the illiquidity, which could create problems with the spread. Let's load this up on a trading screen, get a quick gander as to what the spread looks like on this one. So do we have PN on 2 screens or just 1? We got it on 2, so we can take it off this one and put SSM on. I'm assuming the NQ, yeah. So the tap is showing positivity here because we halted at $8.80 at 12:08.34. So the earliest will be open is 12:13.34. The tap is showing 9. So we're already 20 pennies above. It's up a respectable 52.25%. I know it's not that great on volume, but we're going to keep a close eye on it here, especially if it's a multiple halter. Let's take a quick look to see how many times this one's halted, Joe. Are these halts or are these illiquidity? I mean, no, okay, so this is a halt. This is definitely a halt there. So it looks like we halted up at 11:58, opened up at 12:08, so a 10-minute halt. Then we halted, as I mentioned, at 12:08. The earliest will be open is 12:13. But if history is any guide, it could be a 10-minute halt. So look, not much in the way of volume. You're going to have to really be careful with this one, but one that you can be quite profitable on. Let's go back to PN because it feels like it might be kind of changing its tune over here and trying to get back above that 9, I want to say 9 3/4, but it's still dancing above 9. It's not giving me the feeling that it's rounding and curling and starting to make higher highs and higher lows for a possible retake of 10. I'm going to keep a close eye on this one. I feel like PN, out of the bunch right now, it is the best potential for a long. So we're going to keep a close eye on that one and see what we can execute, Joey.
Yeah, checking the. I've never used Tasty.
Tasty trades?
Yeah, but
check
checking.
That guy coming on all the time.
Yeah, I forget his name though. He sold that.
He always wears that beret.
Yeah. I like him, man. He's
cool.
Heavy options individuals.
Yes.
Heavy stuff. KT, checking the overview of the actual stock. He's looking for some short interest. Maybe you'll be able to find it there. So here we have Pinterest, right? We posted up at these lows, but then it bounces right off it. Never caught that fill. But Tesla not looking good right now, guys. The market going higher, and then you have Tesla moving lower. Yeah, it is. I think Tom Train Tom Sosnoff. Yeah. I like him. Nonetheless, guys, I know a lot of people were talking about this. Like, this is insane. Okay, like we were talking about it this morning at $610. It climbed to a high of $650. Like this is absolute madness in my opinion. And the same thing with SNDK, right? SanDisk. Like, what are we talking about? $1,400? This thing was $1,000 just not too long. When did it report? I believe it was like last Thursday or something. Pardon me, Thursday? Yeah, last Thursday. Like, I mean, from that point, you're already getting a 30% return. Are you? Yeah, I don't even want to know the year to date, Fabian, because I don't even know, man. That's insane. Like, you could just be done. It's just like, okay, if you happen to be in the right place at the right time and be like, oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna get involved in some of this memory storage, and you're like, yeah, just let me YOLO some SanDisk. It's like, all right, done, you've made it, and then you can go retire in Da Nang, Vietnam for pennies on the dollar if you were looking to do that. You know about that place, Fabian, or no? No? Okay. And he's not listening to me. But even, look at this ETF, up 78% from the beginning of April. Like, what is even going on here? This is some crazy, crazy movement. And with that being said, Palantir started, PLTZ, that's inverse Palantir. Oh, dang. Yeah, inverse Palantir going oppo right now. So, yeah, exactly. Oh, Daniel, you're going? All right, you hit that trade. Congratulations to you on that one. You're not holding a position in No, man, I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm not. I think Joe was answering your question. Stop fooling with Tesla. Come over to MU. Brother, I know. Is there a leverage play? Guys, put it in the chat. Is there a 2x leverage for MU or even SanDisk, and what's the liquidity like on those? I want to get involved with it. It's just really expensive, right? So it's like minimal shares, but nonetheless, if there's a leverage product that we can use on either one of them, then by all means, we're going to look to engage on it. But now 5 cents OTM on this Tesla trade as it's heading right towards the low of the day. Picture perfect curl over. We'll hold it until our stop loss. So as soon as it establishes a new low of the day, then we get out of dodge. Let's pull up MUU. Do we even have this? Yes, sir, we do. Oh my God, what is he? Like, why isn't anybody telling me about this stuff? Why don't you guys tell me about this stuff a long time ago? But volume is pretty hot garbage, though, in all reality, right? Like, I mean, look at this, 1.9 million shares. Come on, this thing's up 24% in the day. Yeah, that's insane, man. This is it's still $400.
What happened, Joey?
Give me a cheaper one. What is this? MUU. So I'm like, what are some of the leverage plays here to play Micron? But they gave me something that's only 30% cheaper. Come on, man. We're looking for something a little bit less. I've been telling you about MU. Says Arun, have you? I apologize. Just trade DRAM. Yeah, you're not wrong. What's the volume like on this? Because it's relatively new. Do we even have access to it? Oh, Sharif's not going to like it. It's on the Amex. What's it up today? 10%. Yeah.
What is that? DRAM?
DRAM, yeah, man.
Well, it's an ETF, right?
Yeah,
so it makes
ETF,
sense.
Yeah, so up 10%. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this is crazy stuff, man. Crazy, crazy stuff in that space. Am I going to be buying? Am I going? Yeah, it is. It's a mad world.
Yeah. I thought you were waiting for it.
No, but you know the song, though, obviously. It's
Which
a mad world.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There would know.
Didn't ring a bell immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get out of this. Let's get out of this Tesla trade. Maybe there's going to be another opportunity to engage, but we'll unfortunately take the out. We couldn't get that 1340 level we were looking for. We get that curl over as the market was continuing to climb higher. Tesla going oppo. So yeah, not the best session here. Yeah, not the best session here for moi, but plenty of time left. Let's see, I thought we were going to start to turn things around with yesterday's thing, but not necessarily the case, but plenty of time as Coinbase is continuously bleeding. So whatever popped, it just faded that and then some. So I'll be keeping my eye on it maybe tomorrow. But I don't even really care to trade it, to be honest with you. I like trading CoinL, which is up substantially off its lows. But the market just hovering in a danger zone. I think it's like Q Donald Trump truth in the next like hour or so. And then sure enough, the market's definitely going to switch. What's USO been up to today?
It's down 3%.
Yeah, it's down. So, I mean, USO down, market or market up. Sorry, I should say. But Tesla down, man.
Are we ATH on the triples? Yes, we are. Another all-time high on the triple Qs. Here comes 700. That's what I think. 681.94 all-time highs on the triple Qs. How about the SPY, Joey? Not quite. We had a topping tail candle, 724.87 all-time high. Today, the intraday high is 723.66, so we're right there. I don't think we've quite made it on the Dow. Let's bring this in. Sorry, guys. I don't know why I'm looking at it. The Dow, where are we at on the Dow? No, we still got ways away 505 or thereabouts on the DIA. How about the IWM up 1.56? The IWM more all-time high. So 3 of the 4 major averages, or at least they're ETFs, okay? Don't come at me about futures and this, that, and the other. All-time high. So the Dow's got to catch up, but there's obviously reasons why that is not the case. It's not cap weighted, it's by price, so a little bit of a different look there. All right, I'm in PN. I got very, very little shares because I executed during the Halt parameter. So it barely gave me anything. Right now, the top is not changing. So this is the NQ. So it's showing 10.15. The Halt price was 10.14. Let's see how this cookie crumbles. But I'm very interested in trying to take PN. If we can take out high of day, currently that's 10.63, we're going to rip, I feel anyway. PN we've been keeping a close eye on this one. It's a multi-day runner. Didn't have the best day yesterday, a lot of VWAP projections, but we're gonna see what we can do on this one right now. 10.15 is the top, having halted 12.16.43. Earliest this one will be open, 12.21.43. We'll see how that goes. We're going to Adair.
Keep an eye here, guys, on MSOS. MH here, I believe this publication is Marijuana Herald, reporting that a senior advisor to President Trump said that the rescheduling plan for cannabis is, quote, legally airtight. Advisor also saying that the administration fully expects the process to be completed before the midterm. So they are expecting here not legalization, but rather rescheduling here of cannabis to be completed here fully before the midterm elections in November of 2026. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Yes. People saying MSK, mask is moving. Let's have a look at that. I was just talking to Grunfeld in the chat. I'm like, yeah, this could be quite good if it can kind of hold above VWAP. MASK is the ticker. Yeah, this is the look. So nice breakout there in the aftermarket yesterday and another big move in the pre today, but it was basically selling off all day. But here it is, trying to reclaim the volume weighted average price. Let's see how this one does. Thank you for this one, Grunfeld. I'm going to take off BRCC on the side chart because it sucks. And we're going to put on MASK. We're going to see if this one wants to kind of hold above the trend or what its situation is. The top is $11 on PN. The high of the day is 10.63. Here we go, 11.11, 11.02. And you know what I was telling Joey yesterday on that trade that I had on SSK? Was very interesting. The tap action, the theoretical price action right before it opened. The tap was like at 12 something, at high 12s yesterday. And I noticed something was afoot with how this one was trading as we got close to opening, because the tap started going crazy and really dropping. And then a second later, after monster drops, I think it dropped like $1.50 on the tap, it opened. So I was like, is that the pairing volume that the exchange is doing behind the scenes before it opens? But why are there a flood of orders that are being paired all of a sudden right before the open? So either there's something fundamentally that I didn't understand about the mechanics of what was happening behind the scenes, or there was some bamboozlement there, really, though. So we'll have to, I can look back at the chart later, but it was quite interesting. I wish I'd recorded my screen, right? Because the tap really there was coming off pretty hard. In any event, Joey, still showing 11 here on PN.
Yeah, good luck, man. We're still sitting in this. Pins. We're gonna re-engage here on Tesla to see if it's gonna bounce a nice indecision print off the lows, but that looks like that's gonna be absolutely gonzo. So a nice little bull trap right there. There on Tesla, or it's just a whatever you want to call it, a Joey trap or something, man, because it's got me. As we're going to head towards the low of the day, that'll be it for Tesla as the market. Something's afoot, right? I mean, you have the market hitting highs of the day. You have the Nasdaq hitting all-time highs, and then we're just over here like, huh? Tesla's like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Yeah, exactly. I'm doing something else. You guys continue what you're doing. I'm selling off here today. And there it goes as it breaks the LOD here momentarily, which is going to be around that level. Key pivot at 407. Oh, man, it's such a love-hate relationship with this stock, man. It's absolutely crazy. It can make you want to jump. You know that song? Ooh, jump. Yeah. But anyways, this thing will drive you up a wall, that's for sure. That's what you gotta do. You know that one meme where it's like, it's just that one guy sitting and everything's just on fire and he's just smiling, drinking his coffee? That's how I feel about Tesla sometimes. There it goes. It's fine. Everything is fine. Everything is absolutely fine.
Get it, Joey.
As we put in a new LOD, let's get out of this thing. We're going to take this off the side chart. Take something out of Shreve's book. If it frustrates you and annoys you, you throw it away and you find something else here to trade.
Beat it, Joey.
Yeah, so that one's got to get out of here. Like Michael Jackson once said,
beat it,
yeah.
beat it, beat it.
Yeah,
no
so
one wants to beat it.
Beat it. Tesla. All right, let's find something else. We're not going to go back to IBIT or anything along those lines. We're still going to sit in this Pinterest. I have DRAM. Is this going to be a dip buy potentially? Shake it off, as Taylor Swift once said.
Get it, Joey, get it.
We're getting it right now as we're sitting in Pinterest. We'd like to have a little bit more. Still up 9.5% here. I'm curious to how the launch is. Neil's eating it right now. I'm getting a little.
We need a rating, Neil. Oh, he's eating auxiliary food. He still hasn't unwrapped his.
Okay. All right, that's.
So we're not going to get a rating quite yet.
How has Circle been performing here today? I mean, this thing went on a monster run from 107 all the way up to. You gap up to 121, so that's a pretty big move. And then now you're starting to come back in a little bit. Before we send it back off to Sharif, let's actually pull up our portfolio tracker, our trusty portfolio tracker that was established by our good friend Fabian. We're going to see what we got going on and see where everybody's sitting. Come on, man. Just do it. There we go. So what we have going on here, your boy Josen at 2.8%, Randy in that 4 slot, 4.8%. But there goes Obi. Obi overtaking Sean there for the lead once again. As for the tracker, we had CrowdStrike working in our favor. It is now positive, Sharif.
CrowdStrike?
Yes, let's go on that one. JP Morgan, the name that I thought would have been, was going to be my safe haven aside from Walmart. JPM still down 4 3/4.
It'll come back.
It'll come back. So let's go. Come on, CrowdStrike. Go Walmart as your boy is slightly cooking up. Katina, man. Okay, Obi's got 2 names. Sean. Oh, there's Sean. Like 36%. All right, man. Our portfolio, our Fabian saying our portfolio average almost at positive, but like, come on down. 36% being led by this one name, man. This guy. All right, nonetheless, good stuff. I expect myself to climb a couple ranks here. Hopefully, we can surpass Randy if we can get JPM and CrowdStrike to really rock and roll for us here.
All right, I'm waiting for this one to open. It's going to open possibly at 26.43. It is currently 26.33. The tap is showing basically $11 on the dot. Let's see how this kind of cookie crumbles over here. Let's see if we can get out. There's the rejection. So rejection of 11. Nice rip up. There we go. Again, limit up 12.10. We got it right at 10.94. So not great. We had 10.15 on. Not a great trade. 11.20 high. I just didn't like the way that this had trouble with 11. I wanted to see it directional. There 11. Okay, there's 11 again. Let's watch now. Can 11 hold or thereabouts to kind of get us going again here? Joe, take over, brother. I just have to watch the tape on this for a second. Sorry about that. Let me just see if I can get it.
Don't apologize, man. Yeah. You know what we can do, man. We can ramble on a little bit more as Tesla. Good thing we got out of that. You know what?
You tell that stuff.
You tell him, man. Yeah, that's why I was like, okay, yeah, we're curling over. We're not going to bounce. We have that indecision print bomb off to the races it goes. So that would have been 20 cents OTM, and we're only looking for 20 cents in the opposite direction. So yeah, there it goes, a flush city. Tesla going negative here today. And this is what I was talking about. The market's starting to come back in. Sellers stepping in the game right now, guys, as we really flush right back towards the volume-weighted average price. Sell, Pinterest, sell. Adira, what do you have?
You're also seeing a lot of selling here in these memory names. Here's MU dropping here. I'll pull up SanDisk, I'll pull up WDC, and also Seagate. I'll let you guys look at the Seagate chart as I tell you the headline. Nikkei reporting that the Trump administration is looking to ease the memory chip crunch with a supply chain block. So again here, they're considering a block for supply chains for memory chips as a way to ease this crunch in the space. Back to you, as reported by Nikkei.
Boom. 1076, there's 1166. Let's go. We're still holding. Let's see if we can get up a little bit more. There comes 12. Let's go again. Seller in the 80s. No continuation, Joey. Into the 80s again. I don't see one single 90 print. The seller's coming at 80s. That's going to end the trade for me right there. Let's see. Can we get above 12 again? Man, what a scalp. I literally have the bottom of this candle. This was a good trade. All right, looking for a little bit more, Joey. Let's see if we can get above 12. 1187 high. Seller at 70s here. moving up incrementally. So keep your eye on the highest print that's coming in on the ask, or just use your 5-second chart. Flipping to the 5, I'm trading PN, looking for another halt here. Definitely some localized selling. Look for support at between 11 to 11 and a quarter. We did have an initial rejection there. There it goes right down to 11 and a quarter. It's holding back into the $0.50 it goes, selling at the half. So now we have multiple lower highs here on the 5-second chart. I still see the same resistance, support. It's 11 to 11 and a quarter. Wow, what a drop off there. Joseph options dropping down into 1075. They're around for a good time, not necessarily a long time, but yeah, what a drop down. But look at this. This one's a good one here, Joe.
Zoom in on that,
That's
John.
entry, exit, entry, exit. So I like this one. Obviously, never satisfied, always want a little bit more shares. Guys, look for support also between 10 and 4/5 to 10 and 2/3. Right back above 11 we go. Let's see if we can change trend. If we can get back above 11 and a quarter, that's the area that I was talking about that had a local resistance level, support between 11 to 11 and a quarter. So if we can get back above 11 and a quarter, I think we resume trend, but back below 11 we go. Yep, not quite yet with this one. You're gonna have to really pick your moments with a PN. And what I'm looking at there, why am I staring at the top screen? Well, I've got the 5-second chart on the top screen. And what I'm trying to use that 5-second chart for is to spot areas of local support and resistance, also to gauge trend. It's basically very similar to, if not the same thing that you can see on the level 2. It's just, it's not as transient, so it stays on the charts. You can always refer back to it, but it looks like this is a bit of a downtrend here. So we'll see. We'll see if we can make a little bit more on this one, but I'm liking the way that I've traded the Halt names today. I'm positive on AIOS. I'm positive on PN. They're my biggest winners. I'm negative on Poet. I'm negative on EVER, but I'm positive on the day. The reason I was so gung-ho to trade these halters is because I really was disappointed in myself yesterday and how I traded SSK. I had the right idea. My problem was I kind of did it on a whim. I didn't execute the plan using the risk calculator with the proper cost structure and ins and outs. And as a result, I hit the flatten key probably a second too early. And that ended up being red on it as opposed to being quite positive because it moved $4 a second later. So I was really wanted to come home and hammer these halters. Shout out to KC526, man. Where's she at?
KC, I seen her
Where's
this.
she at,
I seen
man?
her
I
this
saw her
morning.
in the morning,
Yeah,
man, because she'd be all over these right now. So get it, Casey. Buvin's on the way. He just messaged me from the car. He's like, yo, you got to look at UONE. I'm listening to you guys. I can't respond because I'm driving.
Oh. But
Shout out to the OG Buvin, man.
Oh, he's
What?
listening? Oh, he can't respond.
He's in the car. So
but how's he even telling you that he can't respond?
Well, we don't have to out him. All right.
Oh, but you just
texting.
No, I know,
Well,
but yeah. But
I think it's a little bit harder maybe to go into the YouTube chat than it is to message on Instagram. But Big Rudy Smasher, love the name. Love the name. You're getting the money falling there. $2 super chat. Thank you, Rudy. I got 5. What should I get into today for the long? You got $5.
Got 5.
Maybe he's got $5,000.
He's got 5.
He's got 5.
Oh, he's got 5.
I got 5 on it. Get it, Joey.
Yeah. Okay. Let's play this game, Sharif.
Play it, Joey.
You got 5. We don't know whether it's $5, $5,000, 500. You have 5. You don't know the complete metric. What are you looking at right now?
All right, this is always a tough question because there's so many different areas of the market that I like.
Okay,
right?
but you get one thing.
I
right
know,
here,
but
right
I hate to be asked like this on the spot. I don't have. I'm not a ATM. You just hit buttons and then an answer comes out. I have to think about it a little bit. Well, what do you got? Let me mull this over.
Yeah.
You got $5. What are you buying right now?
DRAM.
DRAM.
Yeah.
You're buying DRAM.
Yeah.
You didn't see the Trump administration there come out and say they're going to alleviate some of that's all cap?
Well, I mean, hey, man.
What are they going to do in the?
What do you think?
What are they going to do in the short term?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good point. Yeah. We got to go back to Adara because there's more news.
Another Trump administration-related headline impacting a specific sector. In this case, it is the tobacco space. You have PM and MO both on the move as the Wall Street Journal reports that Trump is pressuring the FDA commissioner to approve flavored vapes. So once again here, President Trump is reportedly pressuring the commissioner of the FDA to approve flavored vapes. Good look here for MO Ultra and PM Philip Morris. Back to you.
They banned those flavored vapes or something like that? Did they do that here because it got kids to vape?
I think it's menthols.
Was it menthol?
Yeah.
Wasn't it all flavors?
Yeah, I don't know. I think so. Remember the old I don't know. You probably never had them. The cigarellos.
I remember what cigarellos are. Yeah.
I don't know if those still exist or anything. Yeah.
Joey, I just got to interrupt. Let's get back to this conversation. I want to find out if they actually did ban. But PN is back above 11, guys. Here we go. It's turning into a bottoming tail candle / red hammer candle for now. Let me give you the range on this one. Current bar high. Oh, bad word. PN. Let me just do it over here because sometimes the mouse over feature doesn't work and now they're not working on it. Okay, so current bar high, 1119. Current bar low, 1036. So we're locked in a bit of a range here. I thought this was going to be an aggressive retaking of 11, but it looks like the 11 seller is right back and keeping us down below that. So I'm very interested in getting back into PN, especially if it starts curling, giving me some higher lows with a breach, a decisive one that at that of $11. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. $5, bro. I'm just small time, bro. I'm only 18. We love you anyway, man. We don't mean anything bad, brother. I don't know if you're being serious. You want to buy $5 in a stock? Maybe he's asking for a small cap gapper.
Bro don't look 18 either. But I know that's
maybe it's his old man.
Well, I mean, with 2 super chats, yeah, you had $5 before. You've now super chatted $4, so you have $1. What fractional are you actually going to buy right now? It's a great question, man. What fractional? Yeah.
I don't believe this guy. I like him though.
I can say.
I don't know what to say to that.
Fractionals.
What's wrong with fractionals?
Nothing. It's just
like literally, try buying fractional of Tesla with $5. I don't know if IB lets you do that. What's the minimum fractional? Have you tried buying fractionals?
Well, think about it. You got to pay 40 cents in commissions, right?
So, for fractionals?
What for any
in general?
For any transaction. So now you're down to 50 cents. You got 10%. Of what you initially had. I don't know, man. That stuff's comical.
$5 will buy you half a big, half of a big yellow airplane during the Spirit Airlines fire sale, FLYYQ, going on today. Talk about this guy's pumping his position. Look, man, I wish you all the best. I don't know. I think, didn't they cease operations? So now it's just about what their assets are worth in the bankruptcy liquidation. Let's see what the trustee or the appointed bankruptcy administrator, depending on the jurisdiction, obviously, that they're operating in, does with some of those assets. But apparently, did you hear about this? Who met with Lutnick? Somebody met with Lutnick, with Howard Lutnick, and Lutnick was trying to persuade them into a bailout. Who am I thinking about, man? I was just watching this interview. There was like somebody who met with Howard Lutnick, and Lutnick was like, hey, Ted Cruz. Apparently, Ted Cruz met with Howard Lutnick at some sort of lunch. Lutnick was the one advocating for a government bailout to the tune of $500 million. Ted Cruz being, I guess, according to him, sort of a laissez-faire capitalist. And he's like, no, we really shouldn't be bailing these companies out. You got to let them fail.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that is, it depends really how you feel. I don't think the operating structure of the airline was all that well.
Yeah.
And the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
But I think that there is a market that Spirit Airlines was targeting that's now going to go unmet. The flyers, people who were frequenting on Spirit Airlines, where do they go now? Right?
Well, they're not flying. Right?
Or they're not flying.
Or they're not
they're
like, I mean, you're not going to completely eliminate the whole the group of people who are flying within Spirit Airlines,
are not going anywhere.
But I mean, what are you going to do? They're going to obviously have to rotate into another company, right? Is that going to be the American Airlines?
Some people are saying Frontier. I don't know too much about Frontier. Do you?
No, I don't. No, the only one I've ever been on American is AA. American Airlines.
I've been on Delta. I've been on United.
Delta. Those two I've been on. I've been on Delta.
AA as well. Some good comments coming in. If it was Southwest, Ted would have been for it. Should have allowed the merger with JetBlue. Couldn't agree with you more, Yuppie Mullets. I think that was probably a mistake by the previous administration.
Yeah. So that's not really fair, right? Like, so it's like, okay, you have this company who's trying to acquire this other one that's potentially going to go completely under, but now in the result of them not allowing that merger to happen, you have that company go completely under. So I don't understand that. I don't think that's really fair. I don't know what's all behind that.
Well, we got to go to Adair. She's got news.
Keep an eye here on eBay and GameStop. More updates here with this offer, at least reportedly from Semaphore, saying that the eBay board will be meeting this week to review GameStop's offer to acquire the company for $125 per share, though the headline of the Semaphore piece is, quote, GameStop CEO's unlisted bid for eBay looks dead on arrival. So it looks like Semaphore does not think this GameStop deal is going to go through. Regardless, eBay's board will apparently meet this week to consider GameStop's offer to acquire them. Back to you.
Did you watch this interview with Ryan Cohen yesterday and the CNBC team?
No.
So I watched the entire thing.
Yeah.
So the clip that I put in the midday is not the entire thing. You can watch that obviously if you want, but I would suggest you watch the entire thing.
Yeah.
I felt they were very unprofessional. They were getting very emotional. They were emotionally reacting.
CNBC crew?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, and it wasn't just one or two of them. Santoli was
Becky
emotional. Becky Quick was emotional about it. Sorkin was kind of laughing it off, didn't really know what to do. I think the only person that was professional was Melissa Lee.
Really?
Quite frankly, yeah, she gave it to him, though. She's like, look, bro, I mean, this doesn't make any sense. But she didn't have an emotional reaction to his kind of one or two word answers. Right? I'm not saying what he's doing is right. I'm not saying he's coming up with the money. Basically, what he's saying is, I'm going to dilute the shareholders. I'm going to issue more shares, and that's how I'm going to make up the difference between the 30-some-odd billion that I have and the 55 that I'm offering. Essentially, what he's saying. He didn't want to drill it that way because it doesn't look good when you say I'm going to dilute shareholders. Right? But I didn't like the way that they
handled it.
No,
really,
that's just my opinion.
They pressed them. Really?
They pressed him as well as they're right to, but the way that they were reacting to some of his answers, you got to have that professionalism in that case. They didn't, in my opinion.
Really, eh?
No, that's the way I feel, man. Half cash, half stock. It's on the website. Yes, Ram. Was that you, Ram? Absolutely. And that's the whole point. He kept trying to refer to like what he put on the website. I got it. We got you, Ryan. But anyway, that's just my opinion. What do you got there, Beth?
Yeah. I'm looking at the same thing now. We're getting this pullback here in pins. This is my smallest position of the day, and this one ended up working here. Now it's starting to come back, so we can trail this stop at the break. We were posted up at 2260s. We didn't get that level, so I have no issues. You might get some form of a pullback, or if it climbs a little bit higher, back into 23, then we'll just take it off there, the remaining of it. But a nice little short to the downside, almost giving us, 50 cents. So that's not bad, man. Especially after that breakdown, we did sell the lower end of the range. I often talk about how it's just best to get in at the higher Y because it drastically increases your risk to reward. And then what does that give you? Another 20 cents to the downside. So yeah, that's what we have. Tesla finding some form of a bottom. I don't know with that thing anyways. I already removed it from my one side. It's going to get removed from this one here momentarily. But then Bitcoin, double top, right? So you can see that curl over, that inverse turtle shell, a nice roll over here in Bitcoin from 46.34 and then down to the low of the day here pretty much on Bitcoin. Let's pull up the actual options chain on this thing and see what we have at 46.50 to see if there's any open interest or a call wall, a supply zone, and why we can't continue to climb any higher. Now, moving forward, options chain. Uh-oh, Neil. What's Neil?
Dude, I love when Neil chimes in a chat that he starts reading the messages. Now he's coughing because he was laughing.
He just swallowed some stuff.
It's on the website, bro.
It's on the website.
Anybody asks me, like, yo, where do you get in? What stocks are you trading?
It's on the website.
Website.
Okay. All right, man.
PN is coming in here, guys, into 10. This is, oh, wow, it's losing it in a hurry. Let's see if it can reclaim 10. Seller at 10 now. Aggressive price action. The reason I was looking at 10, number one, it's a halt level or thereabouts. Number two, it's a psychological area of support. Number three, it was a little bit of an overlap between the 10 EMA on the 5 and the $10 level. But this one is dropping in a hurry now. It is losing $10 now, down into 970. Limit down is 944. Buyer at around the $0.75 here on PN. So limit down 944, 929 now as we lose a 3/4 on the way to 2/3 or even half. So PN, an aggressive drop here midday. Yeah, a couple of names I'm looking at, guys. I just want to bring this up. I haven't executed anything on them now, but I'm very interested. The first one is if DGXX can kind of take out that volume weighted average price, I'm interested, even though it's still technically below the pre-market high. I want to see how this one dances at around $6 and 580 being VWAP, 6 obviously the psychological area of resistance. PN now is halted down. Joey, the halt level, $9.29, halt time, 12:43.56, tap, showing 9:14 below the halt price. So PN on a bit of a move down, but there goes. Sorry to digress back and forth here, but you know the market moves fast, so do I. DGXX here coming into area highs, 568 is the official high of the day, because that's after the 9:30 print. But as you can see to the left of your screen there, a lot of price action well above that, with the high in the pre-market being 730. So watching this one, and then watching UONG. Bovin told me to keep my eye out on this one from the car. He was telling me about this one from the car. Shout out to the OG Bovin. 1290 high, it's at the day high right now, being up about 46.5%, on the way to $13. What a move up here for 1G. The only problem with this one is, Assassino, that this one has very low volume, and the volume is quite sporadic. Case in point, let's just look at the prior candle, 32,000 shares. The one before that, 13,700. The one before that, 17,000. So you're likely going to have a wider spread. I haven't quite loaded it up on a trading screen to see what this one is like IRL, but we will momentarily. And then just before we go to Adara, MASK has kind of, whatever reason, found support here at $1.85 or thereabouts, and now it is above the volume weighted average price, going in above 2 1/3 right now. The pre-market high is that 4:05 a.m. candle, $2.68. This one could be in focus here, guys, up 60%. And you can see this one broke out quite aggressively in the aftermarket yesterday. Adair.
We're here on that memory story. In case you guys missed it, bit of a drop here for SanDisk, Micron, Western Digital, and Seagate after Nikkei Asia reported the Trump administration was looking to ease the memory chip crunch with the supply chain block. Now, further details here, they're going to be using the PAC Silica supply chain block, which was created in December of 2025. This will be used to ease the global memory chip shortage. 14 countries are already on board, trying to get Norway involved as well. U.S. officials also planning talks in the Philippines this month, so May 2026, as Washington pushes memory capacity higher. So again, some more comments here and details on that memory supply chain block that is reportedly occurring here with the U.S. Back to you.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we catch a new low here on pins. So it popped up there and then a clean flush to the downside. So we take a little bit more off. We're only sitting on 20% remaining of our position. So this one's been working for us here today. I used a guy from work. I used at the beginning ChatGPT, and then I moved over to Claude to implement it and how to create a batch file and just essentially how to connect it to the API. So what it was made in at the beginning was Pine script, so it can be plugged into TradingView, and then from TradingView, I'm like, okay, well, you should be able to just connect your broker, but that wasn't necessarily the case, so you have to use another third-party thing. So I'm like, okay, let me just use Trader Workstation's API. So with that being said, I had to convert that from PineScript into Python, and then use that Python and create a batch file that when I opened it, it just essentially just opened up the algorithm into the Trading Workstation API. All right, I mean, did you guys write that down or no? Sarcastic. All right.
It's on the website. Put it on the website,
Yeah,
Joe.
it's on the website.
Put it on the website.
Yeah,
Joey.
it's on the website. I'm actually listening to that now. Chat's always moving. But guys, we took some more off. I don't know if this is going to be the bottom here on Bitcoin, but the market's right back at the high, the SPY and the TQs. I'm going to be waiting for 2 o'clock, and then we're going to see if we can find another potential trade. Other than that, we're going to be sitting in this Pinterest short until proven otherwise. Yeah, I can actually repeat it if you're serious. If you want me to, but just say yes. Thanks for sharing. I'm picturing late nights and a bunch of empty Monster cans next to you. I don't drink Monster, dude, and like outside of the office, I don't even touch caffeine. So for me, it's just I sit at my desk at home It's not as long as you guys think as it takes, man. To be honest with you, to refine that one strategy, it took me a couple of hours. If you know exactly what you want, and the more specific you are within the code, and then you plug it, okay, this is what's missing, you just type it right back into whatever tool you're using, and it spits out a whole new code until eventually you get what you want, and that's only a couple hours, but now connecting it and getting it to operate in how you want to, that's where essentially the time is. To be honest with you, Jose is like, man, I made like 15 algos the other day, not too long ago, so I have 4 total now, and combined they only took me like my best one, obviously the longest amount of time, but once you get the process down, it's actually so much easier. And the more specific you are within your algo, then the chances are of it working continuously, and the less it triggers, to be honest with you. And I think that's really key because the criteria is so specific, so specificity is really important.
Yeah, I want to show my workout from yesterday. This was like a bit of a split.
Yeah.
I like doing legs with core. I feel there's a good amount of like, so when we used to, when I was doing basically some of the training initially, PT, they would always make us activate our core before we ever did squats or anything like that. So if you were, sometimes we do the dead bug, sometimes we do, sit-ups just to make sure that core was activated. So keep your back up, back straight. So this is what I did yesterday. This was the combination. If we can show this assassino. So we're doing 315 on the bar here. This is it's not heavy, but it's not light either. And then we go into 365 on the bar. Now I didn't get as quite as deep as I would like to on this one, so I definitely want to work on that. But these are what I like, man. These kettlebell swings create so much power and so much linear chain connectivity. And then this one, look at this one. This one, RDLs basically, but off the GHD. And then look at the mix, right into core. If you're not activating your lower back and then supplementing that with core activation, then I don't know what you're doing. But I love these GHDs, Joey. I'm gonna put these on my Instagram almost every day. I was like, why am I not putting on my workouts, man? I have some interesting ideas for some of these exercises, things that are not done too often. So I'm gonna be putting those on. So join me on Instagram if you like trading and you like working out. Certainly, that's kind of right down my alley there, babe. Not deep enough, says Deep Cheeks AI. I like that. I like it's coming from you too, right? Because you're the Deep Cheeks AI. Thank you very much for the $2 super chat there. Yeah, sorry about the butt shot, bro, but you can't really do much about that, my guy. I mean, you gotta focus on the legs, guys. But I'm also focusing on MASK as it rips up into 2.5. Mask is on here, guys. We're gonna keep a close eye here on MASK because we are now all but, what are we? Just like 18 pennies off the pre-market high. This has been a great recovery here for MASK. I didn't have a lot of faith in this one, especially the topping tails through the volume weighted average price. I figured this was gonna fail, but it comes right back into the 10 EMA on the 5, holds like a glove, doesn't breach it, wick, close, or otherwise, and now is ripping up into the $0.50. Alas, this is a psychological area of resistance, so there could be a chance that we breach here, or we fail here, pardon me, but there it goes, Joey, officially breaking through 252. I see you, Bovin. Bovin's in the chat, baby. Now we're keeping a close eye on MASK, and I'm gonna look for a possible entry here. You could give it to current bar low. If your risk parameters allow it, you could give it to prior bar low, VWAP, really depending on how you want to get in. But this is a trend trade. Look to follow it. I also want to see if that 2 1/3 ends up holding, because that was an initial area of rejection, right? That 1215 bar that breached VWAP ended up rejecting at about 2 1/3. So that could possibly be an area of support. And there it goes again, man, into 255. So the breakout is on here on MASK. I got to send it to you so I can set up some orders.
Absolutely, man. So yeah, we're still sitting in this trade, a slight recovery here, back into a resistance zone that was acting as prior support here on Tesla. So it was just an additional move lower, and then now you're getting that grind. Bitcoin not really tradable today, in my opinion. You've been trading within this, what is it, about a 30-cent range on the session, with a low of approximately 45.88 and then a high of around 46.32. So I mean, if you're looking for something that's trending, you have to head over into the SanDisks, the Microns and a couple of the other mag names that have been performing relatively well here today. The crypto space hasn't. Coinbase is finally looking like it wants to find a bottom. Nice indecision print. After it's printed multiple throughout the intraday session, we're still sitting in this pins for a potential leg low and a breach of this wick low that will put it in a new low of the day, and then we'll take out the remainder of our position. But so where did I initially go long off of? Let's get into the detail. And it was right out of the jump, right? So within that first 5 minutes, it was like the third candle that might have been printed here on coin. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, this could be a good signal if we bounce. And it had that initial pop. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is really positive. When things work right away, I play the open of this specific candle right here, and then we get a nice little uptick, but then it comes back and fails, right? So when you have an indecision print like this shortly after the open and it fails, well, look what happens on multiple other occasions, all right? So we try one more right time, fail. You start to form a base. Well, guess what? Nope, bang, fail, and starts to head a little bit lower. And then now, as we get into the latter half of the session, it's 1 o'clock now, so we got 3 hours left essentially in the day, is look at the liquidity really starts to dry up here in Coinbase. It's not like it was in the first hour and a half of the day and up until 11 o'clock, right? So just be prepared. Maybe it's going to be easier and emit more of a tellable flow, but I don't know for anything such as a rebound. Why? Because I think it would be the complete opposite. If Bitcoin had a super strong session, then I think we see a little bit different of a narrative here in in Coinbase. Now, as for Tesla, yeah, we got to switch up our charts here because just what I'm looking for, they're not giving me, and there's no point in me holding on to the names. I got to find something that's going to display something that kind of is more or less along my playbook and is going to give me some forms of entry or an entry point right now. Right now, it's just up and down, something that I'm not really in favor of trading.
Ooh, Joey, mask just topping tailed. It could be ugly. It might not be. We talk about how the topping tail candles are not the end all and be all in the world of small cap gappers because, well, let's just call a spade a spade. They are intraday trades. They are not holds. Most of them are not holds overnight. That's not a hard and fast rule. Point being, you're going to take aggressive profits off the table at certain key areas, and they'll sometimes manifest in topping tail candles. Sometimes they're indicative of more blood to come. So the current bar on the 5 did breach prior bar low. So current bar low is 236. Prior bar low that we breached was 238. We're showing 38s right now. I'm seeing support at 30. That's the topping tail candle, 32, this area right here. So it doesn't quite make it down. Now you could get in here, give it to 30, right? So if I was to say to, let's say 28, all right, so then for that many shares, so we can go half that. I just like, you know, I don't want to bottom pick. I'd rather, now this is gonna, I'd rather just get it off on the trend up after it's kind of made this big move and got everybody's attention, rather than trying to pick it up off levels that I think it's gonna hold up at, because sometimes those don't work. So I don't really want to give back on the day, so let's see what we're gonna do here. Keeping a close eye on this one with a bias that there is support at 2/3. Let's see what we get in and around that 2/3 area. Can continue to watch. If it fails that, we're possibly looking at 2 1/4 because that's where VWAP and the 10 EMA on the 5 are hanging out. And it's been quite directional. Now, there is a situation here where we don't see the pre-market high because the pre-market high is 268. The official high is 255. So if that ends up being the case, then we're probably not going to obviously make it into 3. That goes without saying. So it looks like there is buying here locally at around 35, 36 for now. Not really pushing this up back into the 40s, but there is buying at around here. But as you can see on the tape, most of the color that's coming in there is yellow and red. Very little in the way of green or orange, right? And if you've been watching the show a while, you know yellow and red, especially red and blue are aggressive sell orders. The yellow are mid prints, green is at the ask, and orange is above the ask, which shows a lot of bullishness. And there you go, you got a wave of blue, but right back above here, Joey. All right, we're gonna keep a close eye here on mask. In the meantime, we're sending you up to the big desk with Adair.
Keep an eye here on the market, guys, and on oil. Apparently, in a social media post on X, we've got the Iraqi Prime Minister designate saying to the Iranian Prime Minister that Baghdad, so again, Iraq here, can help contribute to a mediating role between Iran and the U.S. So basically, Iraq trying to say to Iran, hey, we can help you guys mediate along with Pakistan if you want. Not much of a move here in the U.S. or oil, but Middle Eastern countries apparently trying to step into that mediation role with the U.S. and Iran. Back to you.
Yeah, I want to touch on this stock here real quick. STRL. Sade in the chat was bringing this to us. I mean,
Satan?
Sade.
Oh, my bad.
Sade. Yeah, no, not that one there.
My bad.
It's all good. So a year ago, you get 329%. No, I don't think I would call that individual out. But anyways, nonetheless, Sade, thank you for bringing this name. I mean, if you just, there's so much outside of the tech trade.
I was just going to say the spread on this is insane. Like I was
Have
watching
you been
this
trading?
earlier. I did not trade it. I watched it earlier, $6-7 spread. Now spread's a lot tighter. Volume's a little bit better. But yeah, like this thing is kind of unreal.
Yeah, big time. And I mean, it's a massive gap up from 548. I know they reported. And then you're up 43% to 787.93. Now, this is a pretty big candle, right? Like, I mean, at some point you might get a gap fill and be prepared for that. If you've been sitting and you're up 50% and you want to trail your stop, I think that's the route you want to go. Nothing wrong. And as Neil and all the traders typically say, no one's ever really gone broke taking profits. So if you can extract money from the financial markets, then continue to do so and lock it in when you have the ability to do so. Now, I want to head over to this Micron talk. And I want to do a little bit of a comparison here. I mean, we obviously had the news in regards that they're going to try to cool the supply restraint here. Micron, multiple gap ups and just an absolutely insane run where you almost go 100%. You do go 100% from this previous pivot low of March all the way up to where we're currently trading at right now. May, 100% return, phenomenal. But is this going to be something like this? Right? Like, where did we see this? Oh, I just typed in the exact same ticker, right? I'm not saying it's the same sentiment or the same scenario, but if we're talking about a name where AMD in the past, I mean, it was a while ago, you got to go back to 2023, but it's just consecutive. But let's get in days up, but let's get into the detail. Okay, let's head over to what we got going on over here. And the fact that I remember this is pretty cool. But anyways, nonetheless, uptick you just keep moving higher and higher and higher. It's like nothing can stop it. And then eventually you just print a candle like this, and then you start to sell for an extended period of time. Now, different sentiment, right, compared to what we're sitting in right now. But let's do another comparison. Different metrics, but you just have consecutive, and I'm going to go over to Ava's budget group, just boom, 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 boom. And then in the end of its run, is when the days really start to expand and you're seeing that average true range and the volatility really start to uptick after it's already been trending for X amount of time. Am I going to say the exact same thing is going to happen for Micron and SanDisk? No, but we have to be prepared and ready for a potential trade or something to come in if you've been long this name for quite some time, is that why is it in the latter half of, I shouldn't say the latter because it can continue to climb, but as we get further in our uptick and gaining from a percentage standpoint, why are the days getting bigger? Obviously the price is increasing and the volatility is going to increase with that, but we're having stronger and stronger sessions, and at some point, someone's going to pull the plug and say, hey, we're looking to take some profits. We're up multiple 100% from X amount of time. Let's do it, and it's probably going to be a large participant, and I wouldn't be surprised if at someday you see like 15 to 20% pullback in the span of a couple of sessions in some of these memory names.
Well said, Joey. I'm looking at EZGO. Thank you, Bovin, for pointing this one out. I think some other people were pointing it out earlier as well. Let's have a look. EZGO. We're going to start the news soon. No Sia today, guys. She's still out, but we're going to do our best to fill in. So, yeah, not bad, Bovin. General area supported about 182. It did breach it on a wick basis, so still held trend, though, because the low of the area here was 162, 163, so it doesn't quite breach that area. So if you're looking for higher low, higher high trend, still intact here on EZGO. That's a 1 minute candle. Let's flip to the 5. Yeah, certainly resistance in and around 185, despite the fact that it did knock on the door of 2 at 198. Be careful here. There's a bit of a range. It looks like it's about 163 to the south side and about 182, 85, depending really on the north side. This is EZGO. EZGO. I remember I used to have this on my watch list on the side for it's an EV name or a charging name, because I remember there was one that was EZGO Technologies. Which one is this? Company involved in providing transportation solutions, engages e-bikes, bicycles, battery and e-bicycle rentals, the sale of battery packs, battery cells. Okay, cool. So they do a lot of that kind of thing. In any event, not a bad look here for EZGO. Nothing really to do on this one. I'm still keeping a close eye on Mask. I got in, I got stopped out pretty quickly here. I'm looking for a trend change. I'm also looking for a breakout above 246. That would put it above the high of the 1255 candle. It's not coming in. That topping tail candle is still eliciting some selling here as we put in several lower highs in a row on EZGO. So that's the look there. What's up, slow motion, Joe? What does LFS mean? Is that a ticker? Oh, nice call out there. A little light on vol, but hey, not too bad. Let's look at LFS. I thought that was like an acronym for something. Yeah, into 284, current bar high, 253, current bar low. Spread on LFS. Let me see if I can find that. It's been showing me the spread. 180. It's not showing me the ask though. It's showing me the bid. I can find it. I can find it after. But yeah, not a bad look here. Nice breakout midday on LFS. What's the headline? This is the headline here. Awarded contract to manage weekend club activities in Xingu Town. Okay. Doesn't really matter. Sometimes it doesn't matter what these headlines are, but there's the breakout there. Not too bad. Up, I want to say, what's the percentage? 30.1% on LFS. That's the ticker. I do apologize. Let's keep an eye on the volume because it's only done 172,000 shares of volume on the day. So if it catches a bit of a bid, maybe increases some volume, we'll get involved. Other than that, I'm going to stay clear on this one. Not much happening in my world right now. I'm keeping a close eye on EVER as well, as that one is changing trend and getting back above that $22 area. A clean hold generally of the 20 EMA, getting back above the 10, getting back above 22. So EVER is up about 51.5% on the day with a 22.74 high. I wouldn't be so quick to jump into this one. I did try to catch it off this area support on the 10 EMA, and it gave me this candle here, the 12 o'clock candle with a higher low and a higher high, and then it ended up failing pretty quickly. So view this one with a little bit of suspicion, but it's still, it's up a respectable amount on the day, 50-some-odd%. Who can complain? Continuing to watch MASK as this one is trying to work back into 40s here. Let's see if this one wants to change trend. Current bar has a higher low, but not necessarily a higher high. Here it is, breaking above 242 now. Let's look at the localized selling. So I'm going to flip to my 5-second chart up top to spot the areas of resistance. So that 246 area is still the area that I'm earmarking for a long. That will necessitate the breach of this area right here. So that area right there where I got in and then got stopped out, there was a seller there of note. So if that seller gets kind of moved out of the way, that will get me into the long. Here we go, 44 showing up. Let's watch here now. 45, let's see what kind of strength possibly for the long we have or lack thereof. And there you go, another 244 rejection, doesn't quite make it up into 245. So that same seller who stepped in before at around 12:57 or so about 10 minutes ago now, still there on MASK. For how long, we'll see. But we are holding that general 2 1/3 support. Now we've got about a mid 240s resistance over here. I put a script order that gets me long above 245 into that 246. So keeping a close eye on that. Grunfeld saying BLZE is moving. Quick look on the side chart over here. Yeah, good call out there, brother. BLZE was one that we had on the side chart. We took off. So we needed room for other things, but nice reclaim of VWAP. Thank you very much, Grunfeld, for pointing that out. BLZE, Black Blaze. Just blaze, oh baby. We're going to put that one back over here. Here we go, Joey, showing Mask, showing 245 again. No breach of 245, but we are above, I believe, that area from 1257, 1258 that we couldn't get above. It's 246 that's going to get me long into the trade. We're going to pack the patience here, see if we can take that, and maybe even a breach of 255, the high of the day.
All right, good stuff. We have a $5 super chat from our guy Brett Green. Sounds like a winner to me. Love the programming. Also, shout out to the chat, Pure Gold chat. Yeah, the chat is always undefeated. All right, these guys can't lose over there. Just born winners over in the chat.
Love it.
I'm not being sarcastic either. These guys, they'll roast you. They'll tell you that they love you. Everything. You get the whole bag. All right, guys, let's take a look.
Breakout, Joey, breakout on MSK. There it is, high of day break. There we go. Looking for continuation, seller at 55. That is the high of the day. Look for a rejection here. There it is, 56. Looking for a little bit more. Wow, what a flush. Right back down into 45. Okay, this is going to be yet another topping tail candle here. Anything below current bar low ends the trade for me. Current bar low, 236. So we're going to risk about 11 pennies on this one, Joe. Wow, the zigging and zagging, eh? Just bears, sellers coming in right above that $0.50. And they're probably the bag holders from 7 a.m. So anything below current bar low, get me out of the trade. Sorry to interrupt.
All right, let's take a look at DRAM once again and see what we got going on. Bitcoin starting to slide a little bit here. You can see that we're having that head and shoulder pattern starting to form with a key support level at 45.90. Now DRAM starting to head right back towards the high of the day. Nice indecision print. I don't know why it's showing me two different volume weighted average price. That is just complete bamboozlement, and I hate it when it misdirects you like that. It misleads you in a way. It's like, okay, well, what is my gauge? What am I going off of? So you can see that VWAP is on the 1 minute time frame up here, and same with that one. So if you have multiple charts lining up like that, then we'll just have to find something that is definitely more accurate. Now, as for pins, we're going to be sitting in this trade until proven otherwise. We'll get out of it when we're supposed to, but it's only, I don't know, I'm just getting that feel. I don't know how you guys are looking at this, but it was a steady grind higher here. Grind in, and then sure enough, now we're starting to come back in. At some point, some seller, some news headline's going to kick in, and then off to the races it goes to the downside. Is it going to go higher? Maybe, possibly, but just what we got going on from channel up, it's giving me weak sauce. It's giving me weak sauce vibes.
Crazy.
And we don't want that, all right? So just be prepared. 2 o'clock, it's now 1:09. So yeah, anything can happen at any given moment, especially when USO is continuing to climb a little bit lower. You get an oil spike and an oil catalyst saying Iran's like, yeah, okay, we're fully back on in this fight. We're going to be launching stuff at Israel or whatever it may be. Once again, off to the races it goes. And you can see it's slowly starting to curl back over. Right, 143 and change. You're now at VWAP hugging price relatively tight, but you have a flat top roughly with a couple of whipsaw moves. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's only a matter of time. It looks like it's priming up for something. You have a big time. Oh, wow, Gorv, look at this. I haven't seen you in the chat or Los Polios a couple of times here today, only in the at the beginning of the session. Nice volume print right there, but you guys know where I stand on USO. I'd rather be looking at some other things. It was at the all-time highs not too long ago, or a previous pivot of 150, 138. So cue the Donald Trump truth or something from the Iranian news outlets. I would like to see something along those lines. Add a little more volatility in there. Do you look at RSI divergence, DRAM 15-minute forming? No. Guys, you can see I only have one indicator, and that's the volume weighted average price. Well, I shouldn't say one because I use the tape, the level 2, and actual price. So if we're going to talk about indications, the volume weighted average price is the only one aside from price action itself that I have on my chart, and that's all that I use.
Yes. Just continuing to watch over here, looking for a hold of prior bar low on MASK. Not really much happening there. Keeping an eye on BLZE. Not much happening there. Looks like it's rejecting the $0.75. Double top at 375. It looks like it might be headed down here to 750. Again, blazes up, nice, 65%, but we need continuation. Mask still holding that prior bar low. That's what gets me out. So that topping till candle at 105, that breached the high of the day by an entire penny, that low is still holding. So if that low loses, I'm out. Simple as that. That is at around 236. So we're going to keep a close eye on that one. EVER stair stepping up, incrementally, not rocketing up, but a good look. It's holding that $22 area. It's a little illiquid at times. So keep your eye on that. 2274 area high for EVER. Clean hold of the 20 EMA. Also that other one that I gave you, 1G. This is above in special here from the car. Coming back into about 1258. 10 EMA on the 5. Just right around 1255. Look for a $0.50 hold. 1G has been quite respectful basically all day of the 10 EMA. So if it fails there, I'd be getting out of that, Joe. So that's what I'm focusing on now, and I'm focusing on my trade on Mask.
All right, cool, man. Good stuff. Let's pull up some other things. What are you guys looking at in the chat? We can go over a couple of names. Oracle, we went over our portfolio tracker not too long ago, but let's pull up Oracle, see if we've had any form of continuation. ORCL. Okay. All right, I see you, Oracle. Nice little recovery. I mean, not bad, right? Off of the lows, 131, you're getting a nice 38%. That's not horrible. It looks like it's heading towards a flat top, so you can see that we have a clear resistance zone that was acting in the pre-market, so not horrible, right? Are we going to continue this move? It's going to be a key pivot at 189.39, but if you just zoom out a little bit more, it just hurts, right? It's just like ripping the Band-Aid off, essentially. It's like, yeah, that little move right here looks pretty good, but then when you're down 47%, it's not all sunshine and roses now, is it, with ORCL? ONDS, I seen a couple people talking about it this morning on DAS Holdings. This thing's already went para from the same time roughly around last year. You get 1,000%. There's your millionaire maker right there in on DAS Holdings. Now, as for Robin, do you have on DAS, Katina, man? That's a $1 million position, MRVL. Let's pull it up there. Yeah, 172.06, new ATH. Yeah, you're up 100 and something plus % in our portfolio tracker. So yeah, Marvell being him today as it's continuing to climb. And just way to locate. I think one skill that is underestimated is just being in the right spaces at the right time. And I have to give credit where credit is due. So that is definitely a good play in Marvell, as custom ASICs, as Sharif would definitely be an advocate for, is most definitely in vogue and can continue to be for the foreseeable future, I think, in my
Especially if you're trying to save money or be more power efficient. We've talked a lot about the fundamental reasons, guys, right? A lot of these data centers getting canceled now, and that's not for no reason. That's because people are worried about their electricity bill going up. So the more power efficient you can get and make the case, oh, there he is. What's going on, baby? Make the case that you're not going to be sucking up people's energy and increasing their home energy costs, well, then maybe you might have a little bit less opposition to the whole thing. So custom ASICs, not the end-all and be-all for all that, but certainly helps. We saw that as well coming from Micron as well, Randy. They're looking at making some of their RAM more energy efficient. And, you know, that probably helps with the hyperscalers as well, who are trying to shore up their own costs. But yeah, man, there is not much in the way of weakness today in the world of semis. Let's look at this. NVIDIA's down, but, you know, that's a different story. Down 0.5%. SMCI down 1%. And then Taiwan Semi, 1 1/3. That is it. You're getting Intel, 14%. I know, bro. Broadcom's up 3.5, AMD 3.8. Don't forget, we have that after the bell today with the market recap show. Micron 11.4, SanDisk 12, Lumentum another 4.25, breaching $1,000 quite decisively. That's another all-time high for LITE. Gave you guys this one a while ago. AMAT up 5 and change. SMH obviously is the ETF. ASML has been basically doing nothing here, I want to say, for the better part of 6 months. So we got into this range back in January, late January, and we've been stuck in a range on ASML. But anyway, it's still a good look, up 3.85. What else do we have over here? Moving big. Qualcomm, another 8.5. Lam Research, 7%. And I'm not a big fan of the people who compare Lam Research and ASML. They are not the same. One makes deep ultraviolet lithography machines exclusively, and that's Lam. And then you have ASML that makes the extreme and the deep. ASML has a monopoly on extreme ultraviolet lithography, so I don't like the comparisons with Lam. MCHP, another name we've given you. I rang the profit bell on this one a long time ago. Probably a bad exit there at around $75. Now knocking the door of 100. MCHP, very similar to TXN, is that they make these sort of less advanced chips, everything 7 nanometers and above. Another good look for them here. Marvell up 5.33%, going on $200, up 172. You got NXPI. That reported not long ago, up 1.57. Even On Semiconductor was decidedly negative this morning when it reported earnings. Now they're up 0.6. Just gives you an idea about how strong the space is. But yeah, as you can see, very, very few names, Joey, that are red in the world of semiconductors. Let's take a quick look at Bloom Energy. Not quite at all-time highs. We're knocking the door of 300. Today on BE, back up to 299.51 all-time high. But this one feels like it's just a matter of time until this one blows through $300. BE is a rocket. Good look for BE over here. Let's keep going down. Chinese ADRs decidedly negative on the day, with only the solar names barely green. But there we go, Joseph, as we work down the watch list and we get to the crypto section. Crypto, Bitcoin specifically, 82,410 day high today, dropping down now to 81.3, but a good look nonetheless.
Did you say 84?
82.4.
Oh.
Man.
I'm going to say no.
Have you seen Northrop? Northrop got tanked.
Damn.
So from all-time highs, we've lost 25% on Northrop here. That's a monster head and shoulder. But this is an interesting buy area here on Northrop. The only reason I bring this up is because it's like one of our picks. This has got a great support level over here. I'd be very interested to see if it holds up at this 550, 540 area. I might even pick it up. I don't even own it, right? But that would be an interesting pickup area there. A lot of the military names decidedly negative on the day. The only one that I can see that's positive is Textron Aviation. That's up 1%. How's GME doing? Okay, 1.4%. You know, recovering a little bit there, Joe. What's it called? The cybersecurity names a mixed bag. You got CrowdStrike up 1 3/4. Pandub the opposite, looking like down 1.16. Zscaler also down 0.4. How's FTNT? Kind of split the difference over here, down 0.5%. And then the fintech space has been dead money for a long time, being led here by PayPal to the downside. SSR on the day down over 9%.
What's up with the fintech boys, man? Come on. Yeah, that honestly, it sucks that some of these fintech names haven't been performing. Obviously, we're talking about the Robinhood, Webull. I don't even know if it deserves to be in the same conversation or anything along those lines. Bullish. Bullish has been performing pretty good. Send it over to Adara.
AAPL pushing higher here, guys. Seeing reports that the company is planning to let users choose rival AI models across their iOS 27. This will basically offer more AI flexibility for users. So once again here, Apple pushing higher, reportedly going to be letting users choose rival AI models across their iOS 27. Back to you.
Short.
Short it? Is that what you said?
I did. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right, you want to start the news? Ready to go? Let's get to work. Let's talk about the Strait of Hormuz. Interesting take today. Let's start over here, Assassino. Actually, I'm just going to keep it. Where are we going to do this? Where are we going to do this? Give me a sec. Give me a sec. So we're going to put it over here so that we can keep it away from this one. There we go. Oh, that's not what I want to do, Joe.
Run away.
What I want to do. Setting it up over here. Give me a sec. All right, let's talk about the Strait. USO down 3 3.25 right now. Interesting developments. Obviously, we've had many different coming up with a plan. I kind of spoke about it this morning on the morning rundown, where previously sort of the shipping lane used by a lot of these shipping companies through the Strait of Hormuz was pretty close, about 5-6 kilometers off the coast of Iran. The Navy now has kind of changed their approach to this. So they basically dropped down the strait, so it's about 20 in coast, and they cleared a shipping lane, they're saying, of any potential mines, seaborne mines in that area. And the point of having it that far west of the Iranian coast is it doesn't put them within shooting distance, if you believe the reports of some of the Iranian speedboats as well as land-based artillery. So it gives them a bit of a clearer path. My understanding is they're being escorted here. The market liking that to the tune of -3%, Joe, but I think it's going to definitely need more than a day or two to start seeing, you know, some losses here on USO, big losses.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, Sharif. Considering, right, we have that inverse correlation going on between the market. If they're going to allow some passage now, I think that's going to be a nice coolant for USO and the price of oil. So, yeah, I like it. It's a slow start. It's better than nothing, and it's better than the conflict continuing to escalate. So if they can start getting more tankers through that strait, then you're going to see USO really start to come back in here.
All right, let's talk a little Palantir. Great earnings for Palantir. Let's load them up, see where they're at the moment. Then I'll give some comments. So Palantir is down 6 3/4%, but they did do very well on earnings. Let's zoom in a little bit here. EPS coming in at 33 pennies, versus the 28 expected, with revenue growing substantially, 85% year over year increase on that top line number, taking it up to 1.63 billion, beating the 1.54, pardon me, expected. And net income, the one that really kind of got my attention in the morning, $870.5 million in net income, not gross, which is basically, when you compare that to revenue, that's about basically half their revenue. Half the revenue number there is pure profit. That's net profit. That's pretty crazy. And it's also very, very large compared to last year's take-home money of $214 million. So quadrupling your net income, that's a fantastic look. Full-year revenue also raised, to 765 to 7.66 billion, ahead of the 7.27 expected. Q2 revenue guide, though, so for the next quarter as opposed to the full year, $1.8 billion. That's ahead of the 1.63 they took home this quarter. So nice quarter-over-quarter sequential growth there. U.S. government revenue up 84%, but the part I liked the most, the commercial revenue up 133%, though it did come in slightly below estimates, but that's still a good number there. RPO, remaining performance obligations, also jumping big year over year, $4.45 billion versus the $1.9 billion in remaining RPO last year. That's good for future visibility of revenue, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, with Palantir, the numbers were fantastic. It's similar. I mean, it's been going on for quite some time where you see this triple-digit growth across the board. And then the guide, I think, was a little bit of an issue. 71% looking for revenue growth compared to what we got here this year. So a slight downtick, which the street may not have liked. But I think there's a little bit bigger of an issue with this one. I think the Palantir is obviously first in class, right? It's been first to market. It's been that name where it can just digest a bunch of information and spit it out to you kind of in an orderly fashion. But the software names some of these like SaaSmageddon, obviously referring to some of the LLMs and some of these AI tools like the Anthropics, the Claude, obviously, ChatGPT and OpenAI. It might be a little bit of a disruption here to Palantir. They're positioned well, commercial growing, that's what we want to see, global still growing, and then government contracts as well. So, I mean, it's not a bad look. A lot of it may be priced in already, and that's why you're seeing this name continue to slide a little bit. Adara.
Just be aware here, guys, there was an aspect of that Apple story that involved Google as well. I know this was a couple minutes ago, but I want to go over it while I have you guys here. As we know, Apple pushed up higher, reportedly planning to let users choose rival AI models across iOS 27. Now, we know earlier there were reports that we're going to go with Google, which is why GOOGL likely spiked lower on this story. However, Apple is still reportedly testing integrations with both Google and Anthropic when it comes to AI updates. Furthermore, some comments here coming out of the Middle East, nothing massive, but just a bit of an update here. We know yesterday there were some strikes from Iran in the UAE, quite a few strikes actually, including ones that hit oil facilities. Israeli officials telling Jerusalem Post that they believe Iran strikes on UAE were just warning shots, and that Iran is not expected to escalate and that it will stay within the rules of the game, to use their words. Back to you.
Thank you very much. All right, so I have a few comments I want to make about Palantir. The first and foremost is this rule of 40 that's in the finance game. So what am I talking about here? In this specific case, they obliterated this rule of 40. They had 85% revenue growth, 60% adjusted operating profit. That's kind of unheard of in the software space. And when you typically look at these elite SaaS companies, they aim for about 40 to 50%. That's nowhere close to what Palantir got, 85 and 60. So decimating the average sort of SaaS/software elite level report. Love it. Maven. Remember Maven, the targeting system being used by the Pentagon? Interesting, because it was basically this theoretical sort of not tested software. Now they're getting the program of record. So essentially what that means, that program of record designation, that's basically future income. I don't say it's guaranteed, but it's a lot stickier than commercial income, which I do like. And I like, that aspect of being with the U.S. government. Then also expected growth. While people did expect the growth to slow somewhat, and we saw some, interesting guidance there, U.S. commercial revenue actually accelerated to 133%. I get that missed to the expectations, but still year over year, I really like it. And then there's like this non-human agentic revenue that's being realized now. A lot of these agents being used by other big tech companies are actually using AIP through agents, and that's caused Palantir to create a new source of revenue where they're not giving license by user, because typically that's how it worked, right? You want access to AIP, then I charge you on a per user basis. Now they're actually generating more money through a different billing methodology for agents. So I like that new source of income. I think it's pretty unique what they're doing here. Palantir, interesting look. Let's go on to the next story. Pinterest, Joey. Pinterest did quite well, as we know. Let's look at PINS. Well, first, let's look at the technicals. See, I forgot here. Let's look at the technicals on the trading plan to see if this one came in. So the intraday setup, it gave you 3 different options. It said look for a reclaim of 145 to 146 and then scalp long to 148 to 150. You didn't get that. You didn't get a reclaim of 145? No, sorry, Palantir,
yeah.
right? You didn't get that, so the first one didn't work out. There was a fail at 145 to 148, short back to 141 to 142. So this one certainly failed 145. You can see the move there at 8:55 right before the open, got to 145.01 on the dot. That was literally the kind of the high there during, I don't want to say regular trading hours, but when most people are likely to be on their computer, 5 to 9. That got into 145 and then filled pretty aggressively. And it set to short back to 141 to 142. You got that, and you got a lot more because it kept going with the low essentially right at that 134. What's the other one? Lose 140. Downside opens to 135 to 137. So you lose 140. If you had taken the fail at 145, you should have been looking at that 140 fail because you did get that 140 fail, and it's bang on with where it said you would find support. Look at the bottoming tail candles, all of which breach 135, but it moves right back up. I would have been taking this one here, the losing of 140, downside opens 135 to 137. So interesting look there with the morning note. Make sure to get that every day if you are a YouTube subscriber, paid subscriber, that is. Let's talk about pins, Joey. Let's load up the chart. So pins jumped big, but it sold off a little bit. Still up 9 1/3%. It was up over 15% in the pre, beating Q1 estimates and guiding above the street's expectations. EPS, Joe, 27 pennies. Street wanted 23. Revenue, 1.01 billion. The street was looking for 966 million. Revenue grew at 18% year-over-year pop, but the net loss, widened to 73.6 million. They actually made $8.9 million last year. There's got to be obviously some capex here or something afoot. The Q2 guide, revenue guide, that is 1.13 billion to 1.15. That would be better than the current quarter, so a quarter-over-quarter increase there. And they were saying the demand outlook is better than had been feared. Monthly active users rose 11% year over year to 631, and the average revenue per user, the ARPU, about $161 versus the 154 estimates. What are they saying here? AI bidding improvements helped offset larger retail weakness from tariffs. They also said TV Scientific, the acquisition expands their entry into CTV and ad analytics. And the implication here is that the ad recovery, as well as the AI tools, plus the move into CTV expansion is driving sentiment reset. Not a company that I closely follow. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, same thing. I'm just on the website right now looking at it. Like, I know very little about the company. I know you can get some ideas, design, obviously recipes and everything along those lines. But what I found fascinating is that Pinterest ended up the quarter with 631 million monthly active users. That's not small. I mean, 11% year-over-year growth, and then a lot of it coming from across the world. So you have U.S. and Canada, North America, ex-Mexico up 4%, 159 million users in Europe up 7%, and the rest of the world up 15% with 367 million monthly users. That's not small. That's a lot more than what I was anticipating with this specific name. If we look at the technical, Shreever is going over them. It's not pretty. Is it one of those websites? Like, I think if you put your hands up around the board here, I don't think very many of us use Pinterest. I personally never have. Selena might have once or twice. But yeah, nonetheless, 630 million monthly active users isn't small.
No.
It's not small whatsoever. No. So, I mean, those are pretty good numbers. And you're still growing at lower end rates. So, I mean, double digits rest of the world and Europe up 7%. Okay. I mean, you're still gaining some ground here, which isn't bad. But the stock, obviously, a little bit more of a tough performer. But it is up quite a bit off of those lows, right? The February lows from that high, you're up 74% and relatively strong here today. So, yeah, I mean, not great, but not horrible either.
All right, so I have 3 points that I want to make. They process 80 billion monthly searches. So unlike TikTok, unlike Instagram, where users browse for entertainment, they're saying 90% of their users are now classified as product seekers. So it's not a passive reason that you're on there. You're on there to discover a product, whether it's furniture, clothing, whatever. You're a product seeker. That makes you more monetizable. I like that aspect. Secondly, there's a generational shift between which users are using Pinterest. Before, it was basically dominated by millennials. That's no longer the case. Gen Z now makes up 42% of the global users. That's good because you definitely want to get your foot in the door with them. They're the future earners, right? So keep that in mind. And then as Joseph mentioned, international monetization is really picking up. What do I mean by that? US revenue grew a healthy 13% year over year, but it was the world revenue which surged 59% year over year. So nice to see that they're expanding beyond the North American shores. They're also figuring out how to monetize their massive international audience. I do not mind that at all. So interesting look here from Pins. Let's have a look at the trade plan. What did it say, Assassino? By the way, a headline there, Iran sets up new body to manage vessel transit through the Strait of Hormuz. All right. Long above $24 for a push to 25 to 25.50. You got long above 25, long above 24, excuse me. When did you get that though? That definitely didn't come in at 9:30. It definitely tanked 9:30. You got 24. You didn't really get 24 above that. What was the other one? Break above 25.50. Momentum continued toward 26. You didn't get that. You got that earlier in the pre-market, but that wouldn't have been a trade you would have taken. And then lose 23.75, short fade towards 23, then 22. Did you get the short 23? Where's 23 at? Right there. So yeah, this one, you definitely didn't have the right levels on this one because of the amazing flush right at the open. But if you took 23, if you waited for that flat bottom to come in at 23, the short was still 22. You haven't ring the profit bell yet because the low of the day, I believe, is 22.5. So the morning note, a little bit on this one, not that clean. Let's go to the next one, Joey. Paramount Skydance earnings beats driven by streaming strength. Let's look PSKY, see where they're up on the day. They're down 4 1/3. Started out okay in the pre-market, then the flush came in right at 9.25, 9.30. They beat on both the top and bottom line. 23 pennies EPS versus the 15 expected on revenue of 7.35 billion, ahead of the 7.28 expected. Total revenue only up 2% year over year, but mix shift is key. What do I mean by that? They're now making money, or they're generating revenue from streaming, film strength versus the legacy TV decline, which I didn't like, to be honest with you, as part of their deal there with WBD. Streaming revenue up 11% year over year. Paramount Plus revenue up 17% year over year. Apparently they have about 700,000 new subs. They have 80 million subs total for Paramount Plus. Film studio revenue up 11% year over year. And that was boosted by franchise content. I guess they're talking about Scream 7 in this case. Film media segment down 6% year over year, basically blaming it on the ongoing cord-cutting pressure. They also reaffirmed their full-year guide with about $30 billion in revenue. The cost savings, always important here, Joey, for EPS. They're targeting about $3 billion in cost savings, $2.5 billion by the end of this year. And they're saying that's going to lead to margin expansion. And the WBD acquisition, how can we forget about that? $31 a share, still pending regulatory approval. Could be a major structural catalyst if it goes through. The takeaway, the transition story is intact. However, streaming growth is offsetting the legacy decline with possible M&A optionality.
Well, first thing I'm going to say here, and I find it actually comical, we're seeing the decline in, obviously, in legacy TV here, media. Who here watches the Comedy Central still? Isn't that a thing of the 2000s? Like, what are we even doing here at the end of the day? CBS and Nickelodeon, I can maybe understand, but nonetheless, I think a lot of the subscriber growth is definitely going to be due to the sports deal. I wonder how many actual paid subscribers Paramount gained with that UFC deal, and if I put my bottom dollar on it, the majority of it's going to come from those individuals who are interested in getting the fight nights in every card, because there's no longer any more pay-per-view here within the UFC. So I like that. Now, as for everything else, there's something. Paramount streaming service quartered 79.6 million subscribers, are only up 2% from a year ago. I don't think those are fantastic numbers, to be honest with you. Do we know? We don't get Netflix's numbers anymore, but if you ask me, I don't think that's very good. It's not strong. It's not robust, in my opinion. It's not negative, right, in which we've seen the opposite of the television unit side of things falling 6%. But you're telling me that the studio business also posted a growth in revenue of 11% because of the performance of Scream 7? Like, come on, what are we even doing here? Like, Screen 7 is really what you're reliant on? I don't know. I just think, no, I'm being dead serious.
I respect what you're saying, bro. I'm just laughing because it's funny.
If we were to look up the ratings on that movie right now on Rotten Tomatoes, it has to be no more than 40%.
That's fine.
Yeah, let's pull it up. Like, there's no way that you can be that heavily reliant on the 7th movie of that series. Are we looking up? I thought you were pulling it up right now. Adair's got it on right now. So, I mean, I'm not in love with this, and I believe that Ellison and company paid a little bit too much for Warner Brothers Discovery, and we don't. 31%,
Joe.
You know what I mean? I said below whatever, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Being held by the performance of this movie? Like, get that garbage out of here, man. I don't know. I just don't like it. Overpaid for it. I'm glad that Netflix dropped out.
There's only one partnership that can save them.
Apparently. Well, maybe that partner. Maybe she can help Paramount too.
All right, I have a few points to say. Yeah, that's actually a good point. That's I think more feasible, right? Given
it would make more sense. Like, get her a couple of more films.
There you go. All right, streaming profit. So their direct-to-consumer segment actually finally swung to a $251 million profit. That's about 10% margins compared to a loss a year ago. So positivity there. And hidden is this 59% EBITDA bump. What do I mean by that? So total revenue only grew about a modest 2%, up to, $7.35 billion. But their adjusted EBITDA, there's a massive disconnect here because it surged 59%. How'd they do it? What they were saying is on the call, internal cleansing of the corporate overhead and non-core staff. We never want to celebrate people losing their jobs, but they are factually an expense on the company. Thirdly, the UFC 324, Joey, right down your alley. They're saying that this is going to be the largest exclusive live event ever, and it's going to reach about 7 million households. Underreported, obviously, is a shot across the bow against Netflix and Amazon, who are also getting in to live sports. Very costly endeavor, by the way. And then the $10 billion WBD bridge loan. What does that mean? So we know that the deal is not finalized. There could be antitrust issues at the federal level. The banks don't feel that way. Why do I say that? Because they're already extending them that $10 billion loan under new terms. They're kind of gauging this antitrust noise in D.C. to be just that, noise. They're fully committed to the merger because they're putting their money where their mouth is. $10 billion in a bridge loan here. We'll see how that all works out.
A couple more things.
Go ahead.
Don't forget, I think what was kind of brushed under the rug here is that if this deal isn't finalized by September, then they're going to have to be paying shareholders a payout as well, too, right? So, if that's going to be coming straight out of their pocket. So whatever amount I think it was like a quarter a share, 26 cents a share for every day that deal is not done.
Let me find out.
Yeah.
Keep going for a second.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
find out.
So, I mean, I think 324 was the first streaming of the UFC that they had on there. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan O'Day, Hangry Wife, and iGirl Fighting, but it was one of the first ones, and it was a fantastic card. They did it right. I was happy about that. They have some good lineups, but I just don't love the way that Paramount has handled it. Like, some of the theatrics and some of the commercials and how they're promoting, it's just like, dude, I feel like I could do some of this stuff in my backyard sometimes. Yeah, I'm just not in love with it. I'm being extremely sarcastic in that fact. I just don't love how they kind of made it a joke. Like, you have two guys that are about to go to war, and they have them doing like these little scenes with each other. Like, get that out of here. I don't know.
So the rate is less than a penny per share per day. But when you do total everything, the cost comes to $7.22 million per day across all outstanding shares. If they don't close it, as you mentioned, by the 30th of September, they're contractually obligated to pay something called a ticking fee. That's to Warner Brothers shareholders. Actually, great point, though. I totally forgot about that.
So what's the ticking fee for it?
That's right there. So it's less than a penny per share, but when you look at the total value per day, it's going to be about $7.5 million, a little bit more.
What is it? Oh, but why does it say the ticking fee is capped at a total of 25 cents per day?
Of up to approximately 650. That's quarterly. The quarterly cap. The maximum payout, the ticking fee is capped at a total of 25 cents per 90-day period, so quarter, ensuring the penalty doesn't spiral indefinitely, but still providing a significant yield to shareholders if the regulatory approval drags into 27.
Right. So, like,
you had the right point there.
So like, what are you going to do? So if you don't get that deal done by the deadline, that's literally 7.25 gone every day.
Yeah, and they may not have a hand in that because the regulator could postpone it, right? You don't know. They don't have a hand in that.
Exactly. And for something that, if we debate about it, that you've already overpaid. Like, what was it? It was like $10 billion more than what Netflix or something was willing to pay.
Yeah, and they have to deal with the legacy assets, which I'm not a big fan.
Do you think they'll just kick? Like, I mean, if it's operating at a loss, we just kick that to the curb, and then just start coming in with some more series, like use.
But like some of the legacy assets, like CNN. You can view CNN however you want to view it, but the fact of the matter is, they still generate a lot of advertising dollars because every single biotech pharmaceutical company loves to put their advertisements on CNN, right? So we'll see what they do with these legacy assets, but there's quite a few of them. Let's look at the technicals here for Paramount Skydance. So what did the morning note say? It said long above 1130 to 1140 for a push into 1170 to 12. You didn't get that. It flushed right off the open. It didn't touch 1130. How about the break and hold above 12, momentum continuation setup, didn't even come close. So you're looking now for a loss of 11, and that's where this one really did shine. Loss of 11, fade towards 1070, then 1030. So how do we do here? You got a loss of 11, quick as you like, right off the gate right there. I hope you guys took that. What was the low? Well, it bottoming tailed into 1016, but look where the closing print is, right into 1040. So you were looking for 1070 beak wetter, you got that. Did you get the 1030? You did, but it didn't hang out for all that long. So a good look here. I hope some people took the loss of 11 on the morning note. Money there. The other two didn't even come in. Let's talk a little PayPal. How we doing on PayPal? You all right, buddy? Still down 9%, 9.12%. What's up, Tom? They would just have to buy $3 million in Trump coin and the deal get approved. Tell me how you really feel, Tom, my man there. All right, let's keep going over here. Let's see what PayPal, how they did on earnings. They delivered a Q1 beat with revenue coming in at $8.35 billion. That beats at $8.05 expected by analysts, with EPS beating as well at $1.34 versus $1.27 expected. Total payment volume, TPV, guess, 11% year over year. $464 billion in payments was made on their network, while transaction margin dollars grew 3%. That's a modest profitability expansion. We're going to pause for a second. We got to go to Adara with news.
Keep an eye on GOOGL. Business Insider reporting that Google is building an AI agent that could be the company's answer to OpenClaw, according to this headline. Again, Google reportedly building an AI agent to compete with OpenClaw, as reported by Business Insider. Back to you.
That would be amazing, given the amount of product suites that Google has that you can automatically integrate Google Drive, Google Docs, Gmail. I mean, if you're on the Google ecosystem, it makes so much sense to have an open claw that can tap into all those different. I know you're not a big fan, but the fact of the matter
of what?
Because it's you were shaking your head. I figured it was a privacy issue.
I'm like shaking my head in agreement to you.
Good.
It's like in agree. Like it'd be think about how much of a disruption Gemini has been to the OpenAIs. Imagine, right? Like, imagine this stepped in and you have the ecosystem. The reason why I was shaking my head is because the playing field is starting to become slightly unfair. If you ask for Google, like if there's a league here, Sharif, and then in my opinion, I think Google is just above everyone else. And one thing is that that's so my next point, Fabian, is that they have unlimited cash, pretty much, right?
They do.
Yeah,
All
man.
the other ones are running else,
man.
Fabian. But I like this angle specifically because the ecosystem is already so robust.
Yeah, man.
And, you know, you're having to give OpenClaw access to your Google Drive and, you know, not knowing what the hell could ensue from that.
You click this tab and you got Gmail, Drive, Gemini, Docs.
Well, don't show them that.
We can't show them that there, my boy. That's the work stuff over there. But, I mean, it's like here, you have literally everything. Gmail, Google Drive, Gemini, Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, Calendar, Chat. Do you want me to keep going on? Maps,
Forms.
YouTube, Forms,
News,
Groups.
Maps.
Like, you know what I mean?
Beautiful.
It's crazy. Travel.
I think this one will really be disruptive because it's going to integrate all of that. I think
super disruptive, man. These guys, it's almost like, now I can see, like, I love Google. That's the one I let get away. It's
all good.
That one, man. It's that one.
It's still available to buy, Joey.
But it is just so much better than everything else. I don't know who uses Google Wallets, though, to be honest with you. I just
people who have Android,
yeah, Android use Google Wallets, okay.
I'm assuming. I don't know.
Right.
I haven't had Android like in 10 years. Let's continue on with the PayPal earnings, though. Their branded checkout growth improved slightly, about 2%. That's still a key concern versus their competitors. Venmo stood out. I'll have more to say about Venmo when I have my opinion. We're just reading the prepared notes here. But Venmo stood out with 14% growth, signaling possibly a stronger consumer than the market had been expecting. Q2 guidance, though. That's where it all fell apart. Disappointed. Adjusted EPS is expected to decline about 9%. And that's worse than the street's expectations of about 4% drop. The company did maintain their full year guide when it comes to revenue, but they did announce they're cutting about $1.5 billion of cost cutting over the next 2 to 3 years. So don't expect that all in 1 year or let alone 1 quarter. It's going to reorganize apparently into 3 segments. Firstly, checkout. Then there's going to be Venmo consumer. And third, crypto/payments. The focus here is going to be on the execution and the speed thereof. Really, the kind of the look here, even though it's down 9%, it was a mixed print. The operational improvement, there was good cost discipline, but that's offset by the slowing growth and the weaker near-term earnings. So the market implication here is the stock remains a turnaround story, but needs stronger branded checkout as well as margin expansion, Joey, for a re-rating.
I'll just say I don't like this name at all. I'll just be full disclosure. Just what we have going on from our system, Sharif, significantly easier. Margins are compressing on transaction fees. There's just so many other disruptive things. I don't know what's going on with that Apple. I thought Apple was supposed to release the thing where we could just send money to each other via Apple Pay. So when you have all these tools start to come in,
tap. I think that's
like tap or something like. It's not even that I can send a request. Like I understand that, right? Like I understand that the Venmos and all of the Cash Apps, whatever it may be, have this feature. But the way it works here is that if you just have someone's email, you can send them money. You can send money to any form of account. This is just such outdated technology, in my opinion. I get it if you want to send things across the world or with different currencies. That's when it can come into play. But I think there's just so many more disruptive services. If you're holding this iPhone right here, you should be able to send money to one another without having to have a third party necessarily step in. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. I don't like it for the long haul. And I think it's eventually going to be a thing of the past.
Apparently, Iran's president saying that the U.S. demands are unrealistic. So we'll have to see if that causes any sort of market movement here. Here are the points that I want to make about PayPal. First and foremost, total payment volume grew, but the underreported part of this story was that nearly all of it came from a segment called Braintree. This is like unbranded processing at payment, and that's a very high volume, but very thin, low margin business. That's a bit of an offset there. And then X Money. Remember Elon pounding the table about that integrated app? X, obviously, and then X Money is going to be part of that. They're saying on the earnings call that management, for the first time, addressed X Money as a direct competitive threat to Venmo's peer-to-peer sort of dominance. So that's something to look out for there. Still very nascent, obviously. And then the agentic acquisition cost. So PayPal confirmed that it's nearing the close of its Symbio acquisition, and the point of that acquisition was to kind of fuel agentic commerce, AI shopping, in other words. The report did reveal, though, that there were higher than expected, I should say, costs and integration costs for the acquisition. So that ate into margins. That's a bit of something to look out for there. And then there was a bit of a guidance double talk. So they did say that they raised their full year EPS guide, but it was entirely driven, almost entirely driven, I should say, by aggressive share buybacks. They have about $5 billion authorized rather than any organic business growth. So great, you're able to shore up costs. Great, you had some cash on hand. You could buy back shares. But what about the actual business growth, the organic growth? Not there. And so a bit of a, accounting practice that may have thrown that off a little bit. So PayPal, let's look at PayPal's technicals here on the morning note, see how it jived with the price action. So there was a buy reclaim of $50.50 with a target of $51.25 to $51.75. Didn't even come close to that because the second this thing reported in the morning, it tanked. And then there was a pullback long into 50 or 49.50 hold, scalp bounce. You didn't even get close to that. This thing tanked from the get-go. Then the fail below 50. Short towards $49. You would have been really taking profits very early. And I don't think that trade came in either because we lost $50 at about $8.25. So nothing really came in. The price action basically all happened right when we popped off there, 7:10, it popped up. The earnings call started at around, I want to say, 8:15, 8:30, 8:25, whatever it was. And then it never really recovered from there. So the morning notes levels, they don't really come in. Price action was too aggressive to the downside. Let's talk a little shop. We got about 6 minutes left. Talk a little Shopify here. Good Canadian company. What are we on shop? Oh, my days.
Yeah.
Oh, my days. 15.5% in the Ville of Red. This thing doesn't have a bid. Whew. Beat on Q1 revenue, 3.17 versus 3.08. 4% beat, driven by strength in e-commerce services. Growth remains strong, 34% year over year. That kind of showed the continued platform demand despite some macro pressures with the consumer. However, the stock traded very, very low in the pre-market as well, as the Q2 outlook only came in line, not a beat. Expectations certainly were elevated, and you can tell by the price action there. The macro backdrop was the key overhang, namely tariffs, as well as the Middle East conflict. That's pushing up costs, whether you're looking at fuel, whether you're looking at logistics. They're both more expensive. That eats into margins. That's point number one. Point number two, rising operating expenses for merchants. We're talking about a potential slowdown in demand as well. So that's never really good. So those are the two key overhangs. Perhaps there's more, but that's what was articulated there in the article. They did credit the consumer for being resilient, whether it was the Visa, MasterCard data, but the confidence remains fragile within the industry. They revealed that they're heavily exposed to these SMBs and global commerce flows. That makes them sensitive to geopolitical and cost pressure. The net takeaway here, Joe, strong execution, but macro headwinds are capping the upside. Thoughts?
Yeah, this is another website. I mean, I understand that it's Canadian, but I gotta just say it how it is. Like, I'm trying to scroll. I don't know if I control this for so long, and it's just doing this inverse. That's not fun. So user-friendly, not loving it right out of the get. I'm trying to get it off the screen here just in case they're Assassino, but nonetheless, I'm looking at some of the numbers. Down 20%, not really pacing with the overall market. But EPS and earnings, as Sharif mentioned, 12.7% beat compared to a quarter ago, I should say. Shopify belongs to Zach, so $3.17 billion for the quarter ending March 2026, surpasses the estimates, obviously, by 2.79%. We were talking about that not too long ago, but I don't know. I just think they have too much competition in this space. Upwork's revenues are expected to be up 2% as well. So there's a lot that you can do. I can see you can build websites, you can trade things, but I think there's names like Marketplace that have a little bit more popularity, and obviously with the Amazons and everything along those lines, I can see that you can build websites on it as well. So there's not much I can really say about Shopify, but other than the e-commerce segment, it's a really tough business, man.
All right, 2 points. This $1 billion investment mirage Go ahead.
Well, yeah, one thing they
sorry,
did.
go
I
ahead.
remember they did sign. They made a deal with ChatGPT and OpenAI. To integrate, right? So you just have that direct link. I forgot to mention that. So that's something positive, right? So if you're talking about something, and this is where I think the digital ad sales are going to really come into play, because ChatGPT going to be paying, or Shopify going to have to pay ChatGPT essentially to have that direct access from the platform onto the website. So
well said.
I think that's something important there.
So the point that I have 2 points on this, the $1 billion investment mirage, for lack of a better term. So like the main headline kind of focused on the GAAP net income, but they reported a huge, massive $581 million GAAP net loss. That was almost entirely driven by that basically a bit more than $1 billion mark-to-market loss on their equity investments. It was likely from their investments in Affirm and Global E. So they're taking a bit of a hit there. Those are companies they obviously do business with, hence the need to invest in them, but those haven't been performing well lately. So a bit of $1 billion unrealized mark-to-market, to be fair, lost there, but something to keep in mind. Then as Joey was talking about, their kind of adoption into agentic AI. So management spent a lot of time, a lot of money on this agentic commerce. That's AI agents who shop on your behalf. However, apparently, if you believe the reports, the internal metrics here are showing that while merchant adoption of these AI tools is high, the conversion of these into actual revenue quite low. And that's really what matters, right? It's great that people are using them. Perhaps you're building habits, but at the end of the day, it's got to result in dollars and cents, and that hasn't done that quite yet. So a bit of a tough look there for Shopify. Hopefully they can catch up a little bit. Let's have a look at the TA. But these moves were just so aggressive here in the pre-market. None of these levels even came in. But let's see if this one came in, Assassino. Buy pullbacks into 128, 129. If it holds, target 131 to 133. You didn't get that at all. That was the release of the earnings report there, right at 7 a.m. And within 2 5-minute candles, we were down into 113. The momentum trade through 131 breakout, extension looking for 133 to 135, didn't even come close to that. And then you had a loss of 128 short towards 125 to 122. That probably wouldn't have come in either, because quite frankly, you have to have been ready at 7 a.m. to take that 128 short, and most people weren't, right? So there was that loss at 128. But if you took it to 125, then 122, that would have been printing. But yeah, you would have left a lot on the table there, because I think it got to a 107 low. So morning note, some of the levels didn't come in today. It wouldn't have got you into any bad trades, but a lot of the trades wouldn't have come in at all. Any final thoughts, Joey, as we round down?
I see Jody in the chat. I haven't seen her.
Edit, Jody.
Yeah, what's up, Jody? No, final thoughts, man. Man, oh man, oh man. We're going to get prepared to go over to Terra here momentarily. Shopify to the downside. Adara.
TTD to the downside. The second I saw this headline, I knew I had to make sure and check on the stock here. OpenAI announcing that they're starting to roll out a beta self-serve ads manager in ChatGPT. This will be gradually opening the ads manager to more businesses as they continue to test and refine the experience. Again, TTD sharply to the downside after OpenAI announces they're starting a rollout of a beta self-serve ads manager. Other ads-related companies include AppLovin. Not moving too much on this, but TTD sharply to the downside. Back to you.
Oh, I get it. So, okay, maybe ChatGPT thinking ahead a little bit of OpenAI, but they need to get some ads onto their platform.
Yeah, they need the revenue they missed
real quick.
Yeah. Well,
real quick. So there you go. If you're gonna look for something that is going to manage it, there you go. Self-serving.
Roll out, yes, Katina man. All right, I gotta fly back home because Arsenal is playing Atletico de Madrid in the second leg of the